team, set, hit!
Good morning/afternoon, football fans. We are right back at it today. That's right, y'all. Day number 2 of 8 divisions and 8 is right here. We have the AFC West is in the books, and it's about that time for the AFC East. Oh yeah! I hope you're excited, y'all, because we got a good one for y'all today. We got 1 recording and 3 live. It's gonna be awesome. We even got a few newcomers and a Hall of Famer. Can y'all guess who the Hall of Famer is? He's none other than Pete Garofalo. Just saying. That's right, y'all. Die-hard Patriots fan and lifelong, well, from now on out, season ticket holder at Gillette Stadium. We also have another season ticket holder. And as I mentioned, we have 2 newcomers, and they are going to be quite the story. Really excited to talk to both these new ones. And, of course, we have an oldie but goodie, Mr. Josh Ritter, talking about his Dolphins. It's going to be all kinds of fun, y'all. So, we'll be starting things off here with the Jets. Can these Jets overcome the annoying seasons they've had? This team has had so much. I mean, it's just, there's no other way to say it. They've gone through too much crap in the last couple of years. I mean, my gosh, the last 2 decades. I remember them being good every now and then they just fall apart. As for the Bills, they're so close to being a really good team. Can this be the year where they dethrone the Patriots? This could be revolutionary this year for that entire division. Can the Dolphins make it work? Can they finally get out of the shadow of the Patriots, even though they beat them every other year? Hey, the Patriots are Tom Brady-less for the first time since before they had Lombardi's. Get ready, y'all. It's day 2 here. 3 and out, 8 divisions in 8 days, AFC West Day coming at you right here on I Sports Radio. Your director for all that sports. Welcome, football fans. Well, here we go yet again, day number 2. 8 divisions in 8 days. Hope y'all are seriously enjoying this, because yesterday was awesome. We had a good one yesterday. Had a whole bunch of fun talking AFC West. I even jumped in and talked in there. And, you know, overall, more than anything, the funnest part about yesterday's show was the fact that, of course, we had all the fans, which this year, we're definitely, you know, on pace already. Only have 4 teams down. But we are, you know, talking with real diehards. I'm glad I got to be a part of it. But I'll tell you what, yesterday, just hear Mr. Robert Dillon just rip into the Chargers. Taryn definitely wanted to battle afterwards. That was pretty funny. But I'll tell you what, right now, overall, 8 divisions in 8 days is always a fun show to do. Always a fun series. Because this show just brings out the true the diehards, you know? And that's what it's all about. So, here we go. And we are on to day number 2. Well, as you can see, day number 1, I leave a little hole in my voice. Because day number 1 was quite the show. Especially when my own team is in there. Got a little passionate there as well for myself. But I'll tell you right now, this team, I am really excited for them for the first time in a while. Today, will we have some optimistic views from any of these teams that have been in the shadow of the Patriots for years? Like, seriously, the Patriots have ran this thing for the last forever. Well, at least what it seems like forever. And now we look at a division that doesn't have the greatest quarterback ever. And you can see that the optimism from everybody else has gone up. However, Cam Newton's nothing to shake a stick at. He can do plenty. A little bit older. But Cam Newton is definitely the real deal. So, realistically, the Patriots aren't necessarily done. But, lurking in the shadows, we've seen both the Dolphins and the Bills come really close. Now, the Jets are kind of a different story. The Jets can be here or there at any given time. But overall, the biggest, in my opinion, the absolute biggest threat right now to the division is more than likely, at least from what we've seen from last year, the Bills. Now, overall, it's a fun story in the AFC East, because once again, for the first time since before they've had a Lombardi, now they have 6 of them, the New England Patriots do not have a Tom Brady. Now, the rest of the division is salivating, I'm sure. And wouldn't you know, this team even, who's had some rough goes in the last, 2 decades, some bright spots, are definitely in the running. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome here for his first time, and I am so excited to have him here. He is a die-hard Jets fan all the way from the source itself on the East Coast. I'll tell you right now, man, hopefully this is the first time of very many talking Jets football. Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming, once again, for the first time of many, hopefully, once again, welcoming, he is the one, the only. Let me pull him up right here. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen. He is the one, the only, Mr. Harrison Laser. What's going on? How you doing today, man?
So glad to be so happy. I'm talking to you. Thanks for having me on this podcast. Ready to rock.
You are very welcome. Glad, buddy, man. I'm telling you, you seem, hey, I'll tell you what, any day, anytime I get Drew Diehard on this show, that's what it's all about. That's what this show's all about, and I'm glad you're ready to rock and roll, man.
Oh, 100%. Bring it on. Ready to talk about whatever you're ready to talk about.
Let's get it, man. All right, so first things first, let's go ahead, man. This is your first here on the show, and we are talking, of course, Jets. Jets football here on day number 2 of 8 division 8 days. We are now into the AFC East. First team up is the Jets, and we're going to have ourselves some fun here today. So first things first, I think just for all the Jets fans listening right now, because there are quite a few, I'm sure, we have your hair, all right, Mr. Harrison, go ahead and break it down for us, man. Real quick, just a few minutes here. Since it's your first time, how did you become a Jets fan? How long have you been a Jets fan? I mean, what is your affiliation with this team?
Definitely. Yeah, I am a hardcore Jets fan. I actually tweet about it a bunch. My grandfather actually waited online back in '63 at the Polo Grounds in the rain to buy tickets for the then New York Titans. He loved football. He'd been going his whole life. Unfortunately, passed away in 2018, but he loved football like me. We went to games all the time with my dad all the time. We were always tailgating. Great memories. I love football. I grew up the time when there were guys like Vinny Testaverde, Curtis Martin, Chad Pennington, Jonathan Vilma, Santana Moss, all those great Jet guys, and I've just been a hardcore fan my whole life.
All right, where's that applause button, guys? Because that was awesome. We got to give Harris the applause button here. This is awesome. First things first, I got to say, rest in peace to your grandfather, because that's amazing, man. That man seems like he was about as diehard as diehard gets, and that is absolutely awesome. So, hey, now he's watching from the best seat in the house, man, from up above. So I'll tell you, he's certainly, just like you, I'm sure, ready for another season. And I'll tell you, this is quite the fandom. I love that when we get awesome stories and just, once again, the true diehards. So with that said, all right, Mr. Harrison, let's get on into last season. So first things first, you, of course, being a true diehard, you live in either team, you ride in either team. So last season, okay, maybe not the best season, we get it, but give us every raw emotion and the ups and downs. I mean, of course, sum it up for us, but give it to us from beginning to end, pretty much where you guys may have thought you saw some sparks of greatness, where things just kind of fell apart, what you think could be changed going into this coming season, all that good stuff, but just make sure to stay pretty much in last season. So, Mr. Harrison, the floor is yours, man.
Appreciate it, my man. Mm-hmm. So, honestly, I would say, from an outside perspective, it definitely didn't look like a good season. It was tough. The offensive line was an absolute train wreck. Arguably one of the worst in NFL history. They were last in basically every category. But if you look at the team as a whole, it actually is something to get exciting about. Like, for example, Sam Darnold. He's arguably easily the most talented quarterback the Jets have ever had. In his first 2 years, he's had about 5,889 passing yards. That is the most passing yards of any Jets quarterback ever in their first 2 years. And you have to keep in mind, he missed 6 games. 3 in his first year and 3 last year due to mono. And that's really the problem last year. The man had mono. I mean, I can imagine, I've had illnesses like that before. For at least half the year, his body had to feel awful, unable to perform, in pain, dealing with mental problems. But if you look at later in the season, when they finally started to group, the Jets went 6-2. Understandable to say, if they can keep that momentum up, especially, with Herndon back, Chris Herndon, their main tight end, who was a great weapon of Darnold's in 2018, but was out last year. Jamison Crowder is back, his number 1 target last year. For the first time, Crowder was only about 100 yards short of 1,000 yards. And for the first time in his career, and he actually, Darnold missed 3 games. So because of that, I easily think he could get 1,000 yards this season. Like I said, Herndon's back. Totally new offensive line. They're going to be more middle of the pack this year as opposed to the bottom, which is a huge jump. You're talking 16 places. So it's really exciting to get about. And I feel like last year, those last 8 games or so, you really got to see what the Jets can do when they're healthy, when Darnold's healthy, when he feels good, when he's not sick anymore.
You know something, Mr. Harrison? I am quite the USC guy. I'm down here in Cali. I love my Legends very much. And I know that USC quarterbacks don't necessarily come out and do the best things. I know about 10 years ago, we had, one Mark Sanchez over there. And, for about 2 years with good old Rex Ryan, the Jets actually looked pretty potent. You guys made it not 1, but 2 AFC championships back to back. That is not easy to do. However you go, but regardless, I feel like he, was the best quarterback for a while that you guys had at least, because he got you there, but unfortunately things just kind of fell apart. Then you get another USC quarterback. Of course, now we're talking Mr. Sam Darnold. I remember seeing this guy start as a freshman, and play. I mean, he's such a poised player, but at the end of the day, there was, of course, everyone has their thoughts and opinions and even skepticism on him. Realistically, man, before we get into the offseason, I want to know, do you feel like Mr. Sam Darnold here is actually a guy? Do you feel like he can be the one to carry the team, or do you just feel like he's just kind of the temporary until you guys can get your hands on a quarterback that could be the franchise quarterback? What do you think?
I 100% think, and most Jet fans feel that Darnold is the real deal. It's interesting right now. If you look at Twitter, you look at the dynamic, you actually see some people talking about Trevor Lawrence and the Jets drafting Trevor Lawrence, which is just crazy. I mean, you go back just 2 years ago, Jet fans were talking about tanking the season just to get Sam Darnold. And now 2 years later, many of them are talking about the same thing, to possibly get Trevor Lawrence. I think if you look at, the front office, the personnel, even guys like Joe Namath, greatest Jets quarterback of all time, he'll tell you Darnold is the real deal. You watch the kid play, unbelievable maturity, guys like Eli Manning in New York, which is just so important in a New York atmosphere. Unfortunately, guys like Mark Sanchez didn't handle it as well, but I think Darnold definitely will. He's just so even-keeled. He learns right on the spot. He makes a decision, makes a mistake. Next play, he learns. He makes great reads, good decisions. I really think it's important that they're building a good team around him, and that's what you're seeing this year. Like I was saying, last year, the team was just awful. It felt like Darnold was running for his life. We had games where there were 8 to 10 sacks in that game. Now, like I said, a whole new offensive line, new weapons for him, like Rashad Perriman. If you look at Perriman, in the last 5 games alone of last season with the Bucs, he had over 500 yards and 5 touchdowns. So if he can keep that up so far in camp, he's looked like a wide receiver 1. I definitely think Darnold is the real deal. Like I said, he's got more passing yards than any Jets quarterback ever in their first 2 years, and he's been hurt. He hasn't been healthy. I really think, if he could stay healthy, God willing, not get sick, not hurt, I feel like with a good team around him, they can definitely produce.
You know what? I'm with it. I really do. You guys have had that sneaky good defense for years. You guys really have it. You have this defense that's able to compete with pretty much anybody. I mean, even the mighty Patriots for years, you guys have had these back and forth. I mean, you even knocked them off a few years ago. Like, this team really has everything on the defensive side of the ball. It's just, offensively, it's not always easy to click, but you guys do manage. And last year, once again, not having the best season regardless, you guys really do have a really good foundation and a good core to work with. So, courtesy of ESPN.com, you're taking a look at the free agency ads here. We have here Rashad Perriman, as you just mentioned, huge, big-time receiver added to the mix. Super cool to see. Not add to the mix, but of course he's staying aboard, which is a big thing. So then we have here Greg Van Roten, guard, and he is a former Panther and for Ron Rivera for many years. I'm sure he has. He's developed plenty. He's a big boy that you guys needed. Then one player that I know a little too well, Connor McGovern. We talked about him yesterday with the Broncos. A big bad center out of Denver, and this man, he got quite the payday, and he is going to really play well in that Jets offensive line. Then we have George Fant, offensive tackle, coming by way of Seattle. Another big boy. As you can see, there is a trend here. Build that offensive line. We also have Alex Lewis coming on over here, or actually, no, he's, of course, staying aboard with the Jets, and we have Brian Poole, corner, okay, re-signing, as well as Neville Hewitt. Hewitt. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said Hewitt. So as you can see, we do have quite the, good amount of players who returned that you guys got to resign, as well as a good amount of players that are, new picks down. I won't go into every single one of them. If you want to bring up a couple more of them, those are just kind of the real big ones that I want to bring up. But regardless, tell us all about the off-season free agency, and then we'll go ahead and get on the draft after this. But talk about free agency, your thoughts of even the biggest departures or the biggest pickups, and if you think these guys be immediate threats. If you guys think these guys could be immediate threats.
No, I could be agreeing. Like you said, bringing up the draft later, guys like Becton, who I'm just in love with. But before you mention the offensive line, guys like Van Roten, people look at him and they say, he was an average guard, but you have to remember, the Jets were literally last in every category last year. 31st out of 32 in the pass, and 32nd out of 32 in the run. So you got a guy like Van Roten, who's been an average, decent guard for the Panthers for years. He already in camp looks like one of the best players on the Jets line. And you have to also remember, he's a native of this area. He's actually from Long Island. He actually said when he got there, it was an unbelievable experience to be able to walk around the locker room, see images up on the wall of guys that he used to love, guys that he respected and watched in the uniform. So I honestly wouldn't be surprised if this year he has one of his best seasons because of that, hometown feel. He's playing for a team that he truly cares about. And before you mentioned McGovern, you can't say enough about this kid. I mean, he had over 1,000 snaps last year. The kid only gave away 1 sack and committed no penalties. That's just insane. The ratio of that, like, I'm not even a math guy, but that's like point something percent sack ratio. It's crazy. So yeah, guys like McGovern being added, Van Roten on that line. I'll be honest, Fant, I'm not 100% sold on, because you look at him in Seattle, he played mostly swing tackle, and from what I saw, it seemed the more snaps he played, the less he kind of graded out. So he's the only one I'm not 100% sold on, but the rest of that line I think is 100% solid. And you mentioned a lot of other free agents as well, guys like Perriman, who I think is going to make Jet fans just forget about Robbie Anderson, because he's bigger, stronger, just as fast, but much better hands, much better control. And a lot of other guys they brought in as well. But I would say that's the biggest thing right now, those guys. Especially that offensive line is going to make a huge... And then also you see guys like a cornerback, they brought in Pierre Desir, who is, if you look at last year, is not a great indication because he was hurt. But if you go back to 2018, he had a phenomenal year. He looked like a top shutdown corner. So you pair him with a guy like LaShawn Austin, who has just really come on last year. I think the Jets are really going to surprise people.
You know what? You guys have in my opinion, once again, the foundation is there. Now we just got to see it all in action. All right, so we got here, and let's see here. Let's take a look here in the chat room here, because we definitely got it bumping. What's going on, Taryn? One of our esteemed colleagues here at IE Sports Radio. He says here, of course, he's a big-time USC guy. Oh, man, he's talking a lot in here. So, okay, let's see here. All right. He says here, Patriots will win the AFCs. Well, we shall see. But he says, okay, so while losing a grandparent sucks, losing both is even more heartbreaking. So, he has some sympathy for you there, brother. He says here, I really hope Sam Darnold can have an amazing year. I have a soft spot for him since he's a USC guy. Of course, Terrence's another USC guy like me. And then he says, I think trading Jamal Adams might benefit the Jets as well, since they won't have the distraction hanging above their heads. Before we get into the draft, what do you think about that comment there?
I 100% agree. And if you look at all the Jet fans, they felt the same. When Jamal first started talking about, wanting to be gone, wanting to be traded, everyone was upset. Jet fans weren't happy. Then they saw what Douglas got. Because everyone was saying, they'd be shocked if the Jets got a second-round pick. Because the guy's just running his mouth. There's not a single Jet fan that I've spoken to after what Douglas did that isn't thrilled that Jamal got. To have 2 years of first-round picks, 2 years in a row, just incredible. That is the best way to build a team. And that's the benefit of guys like Douglas. He knows that. Unfortunately, with the Jets, as me and so many other fans know, you look at the past, we've just had bad GMs that make bad decisions. They don't build through the draft. They swing and miss in draft, and then they try to swing big in free agency with these gigantic signings, throwing monies at guys like Tremaine Johnson, who doesn't pan out. So I'm really excited. At first, I know, like with a lot of fans, we weren't happy. I feel like after that Adams trade, everybody, the new Jet slogan should be, in Douglas we trust.
You know what? That's awesome. Because you know what? Sometimes just guys just don't fit, and sometimes it's just things that pull. Not saying he's a bad player or anything. I'm just saying that, sometimes just you need to change scenery, and there's something there that's just kind of toxic. You know what? It's best for both the player and the team. I'm gonna move you back. Oh, still got you there, person?
Oh, sorry, I didn't. Can you repeat the question?
Oh, sorry about that. It says no. As I feel like at the end of the day, sometimes a big change of scenery is really all, and for both. And sadly, sometimes teams and players just don't mesh, and things happen. And if you think about it, it's toxic for both. And getting out of that and having another player there, realistically, it is. I'm sorry, getting that player and having them go somewhere else, and the team, of course, doing their thing. It's like, it's best, in my opinion, it's best for both because it's not toxic for either anymore,
Yeah, I totally agree. And if you look at positions like C, it really just doesn't have the pizzazz and the pass. I feel like safety on the defense is very similar to what we're seeing now with running backs on offense. They're just not considered the quality positions they used to be. People aren't throwing big money at that. Like defense, they'd rather, sign a big shutdown corner and have decent safeties in the backfield. So I feel like with Jamal Adams, he is a great player. I mean, I feel like when it comes to his safety, nobody blitzes the quarterback and provides pressure like he does. He's a captain on the field. But you saw what was going on. He just created a lot of noise, created a lot of problems. I don't know what possessed him, too. He was having issues with Jet fans. I know I spoke with a lot of them. He blotted fans that were saying things, that were upset about what was happening. So it really was the best situation in what happened in that case.
I agree. I totally agree. So, with that said, let's get on into this draft. Man, what a draft.
Yeah.
I mean, this was some fun. So, I'm going to speed through it so you can have the majority of the time. We got about a little bit less than 15 here to talk to, of course, get into this and then the final wrap up and everything here. So, let's get on into it. We have probably one of the biggest you've ever seen in your life. Becton is a freaking monster, okay? This guy, I didn't even have his measurables, but he is huge. And seeing how fast he ran, total freaking nature, and somebody that's going to help his offensive line so much at tackle. I don't know if he's Darnold's blindside or not, but he's a freaking beast, and he's going to definitely help out. Coming out of Louisville. First round. Second round, we have Denzel Mims, wide receiver out of Baylor. This guy says it all. This guy's quite the speedster. He's got great hands. Overall, I thought that was a great pickup in the second round there. We have Ashton Davis, safety out of Cal in the third, along with Jabari Zuniga, defense out of Florida. Into the fourth round here, you have three of those picks. You have, Michael Perrine, running back out of Florida, James Morton, quarterback out of Florida International, FIU, and then you have a trade here from Patriots. Cameron Clark, offensive tackle out of UNC Charlotte. He's still continuing to beef up that offensive line. And then you have your fifth and sixth round, Bryce Hall, corner out of Virginia, which they haven't had, terribly. They've actually been pretty legit. He can get some depth in there. And then round number 6, Braden Mann, punter out of Texas A&M. And you know what? Punters, at the end of the day, you never know because you're going to need them. So, there we go. So, with that said, Harrison, give it to us, man. Your thoughts on this draft. You can give him a grade. Talk all about what guys think can make an immediate impact and all the good stuff in the draft.
With this draft, easily, and most Jet fans will probably agree with me, you got to give the Jets an A+ on this draft. Guys like Douglas nailed it, hit a home run, especially with that first pick, Becton. Like we were talking about offensive line earlier, the Jets' offensive line has been literally almost a black hole for like the last decade. And if you look at it, which will start, not decade, maybe about 4 years since Nick Mangold retired. And that's exactly the point. The Jets haven't had a good offensive line since they spent first-round draft picks on offensive linemen. In the same year, they took Nick Mangold and DeBrickashaw Ferguson, two staples of that line. Then for the next decade, they don't take linemen higher than the third round. So they wonder why the line is so bad. You get a guy like Becton. The dude is a beast, like you said. He's 6'7", he's 360 pounds, but the guy runs a sub 540. It's ridiculous how fast the guy is. You see videos of him online. He's pushing pickup trucks up hills. The guy is unbelievable. He's a beast. He's a legit people mover. I'm convinced he is going to be one of the pancake blocking kings of the NFL. Then you go to the second round, and even more of a testament to guys like Douglas. Denzel Mims, easily first-round talent. You look the way he played, his ability. Couldn't believe he fell to the 59 pick. Jets get him there. Third round, they get a guy like Ashton Davis. Davis is easily... Douglas knew there was a problem. Either May or Adams was going to be gone. You get a guy like Davis. There's videos of him in camp. The dude's making interceptions while he's doing backflips. This kid, if you watch him run hurdles at Cal Berkeley, it's insane. It's like everyone else around the kid is running in slow motion. His agility, his speed is just off the charts. If he picked that ball, there ain't a soul in the world that's going to catch him. Guys like Zuniga, he's an interesting prospect. Didn't do much in college. Was hurt a little bit. When he played, he flashed a lot. You saw a lot of talent there. But there's not enough to make a huge assessment. That's why he went third. But he's a very strong dude. Arguably one of the best, probably, power rushers you'll see in this rookie class. So that's an interesting combination right there. The fourth round was really interesting. And again, just a testament to Douglas. He can take, not sure the exact number, but I think he took about 6 picks or so and turned them into like 9. Because that's just the ability he has. He understands the value of need. If there's somebody there that you think, could go later on, and you have other guys you like, trade back. He was able to get guys like Cameron Clark, who if you watch him in college at Charlotte, this is the kind of offensive lineman you want. He plays with a nasty streak. He finishes his blocks. He puts people down. I think him and Becton are going to be two staples of that line easily for the next decade. And then you get later in the draft, Bryce Hall. Love that kid. I've been doing mock drafts for over a year. I had Hall going in the 3rd and 4th round. Couldn't believe he went all the way as far as he did. I see him just like LaShawn Austin, a guy that's unbelievably talented, is going to be a true number 1 shutdown quarterback in the NFL, but because of injuries in college, he fell as far as he did. And then you get the last guy you mentioned, Braden Mann, just unbelievable. You watch videos of him, the kid's kicked 80-yard punts. He's an unbelievable punter, and as anyone knows, especially the Jets, as we've seen the last couple of years, field position is crucial, and Mann is going to really help the Jets in that aspect.
See, I love hearing that because you know what? Even the guys way in the back can never overlook them, and you're always going to, you're going to welcome everybody in. Maybe not everybody's going to make the team, but at the end of the day, it's really cool when it's like, no, we can use you here, we can use you here. And we'll see what training camp brings, what you do in training camp, and we'll see, and the rest is there. So, awesome, man. So, where the chips may fall, or whatever you may say, where the chips may lie, or whatever it is, I think it's where the chips may fall. But anyway, so with that said, all right, Harris, so we're getting close to the end here. But now we got to get into this season. We talked about last year. We talked about the draft, of course. We talked about free agency. Now let's get into this season. You guys last year, of course, less than stellar. It was just something to forget about, something to move on from. But I'm sure there was a lot of positive things that you can also take a look at. Well, with that said, moving on into this season, tell us all about what you're expecting from the Jets, what you would like to see, and basically just everything. I want to know all the good stuff, man. Let all of us know here at iSports Radio. Let these Jets fans that are listening right now. What are your expectations? I mean, you can give your fandom expectations or your realistic expectations, or maybe even the same exact thing. All I'm saying is tell everybody what you're thinking this year, how you think they're going to do, and realistically what you think this team is going to be looking like moving forward, even into the future.
It's a great question. This year is going to be really tough, I feel like, because the team has a lot of talent. They put the right pieces in place. But surprisingly, which is weird, because last year they weren't that good at all. But this year, surprisingly, they have a very tough schedule. Got games against the Niners, games against, I'm pretty sure we played the Saints at one point. It's a very, very tough schedule. So as much as I want to be optimistic, it's a very tough one. I would probably safe bet I get the Jets winning somewhere between 6 to 10 games would probably be the range I would put them in. I'm hoping somewhere between 9 and 10 and around there, because that could put us in the playoff. Even if it's a wild card position, as we've seen with the Jets in both years with Sanchez, the Jets love being the underdog. They're good at being told you're not good enough and you shouldn't be here. They actually tend to thrive in that situation. So I think the Jets are actually better off in a wild card position than in other positions like other teams might think, because they tend to go in with a chip on their shoulders. They've always kind of been that way. But if you look at the Jets camp, there's been a lot of standouts, especially guys like Marcus May. I mean, now that Jamal Adams is gone, May has taken every opportunity to show that he is the guy. He has been amazing in camp, picking off Darnold, picking off the backup quarterbacks. I believe he returned one for a touchdown, I want to say, last week. He looks great. He's showing that Jamal Adams is not necessary. May's the guy. And other great guys, too, like last year, Foley Fatukasi. He's another Long Island native, big defensive nose tackle. He actually graded out last year 81.6 on PFF, which is arguably, I believe, one of the highest Jets next to Jamal Adams. Kid's still very young. He's got a lot of potential. You get a guy like, same thing with Sean Austin. There's a lot of these young guys with a lot of talent. Austin, I'm still convinced since the day he was drafted, you watched him play at Rutgers, this kid is a true number one shutdown cornerback. Same thing you're going to see with Bryce Hall. He's excellent pressing receivers, excellent at pursuit of receivers, tracks the ball in the air. And then same thing you see with inside linebacker. So many Jet fans were, afraid when C.J. Mosley opted out. But The Jets inside linebackers have looked great. You see guys like Blake Cashman is surprising everybody in camp. Dude's all over the field, making plays. He flies. You got guys like Neville Hewitt, you mentioned before. He's very underrated in the passing. When it comes to pass coverage, he is really good. Can keep up with most tight ends in the league, easily. But, yeah, you got guys like Burgess, Onwusor, definitely a lot of talent in that area. I would say the biggest problem with the Jets right now has been injuries. So many guys are getting hurt in camp, and it's really not just the Jets. If you look at everything going on, in the unfortunate climate we have right now, there's no preseason, guys aren't getting the snaps they normally get, seeing a lot of injuries, and that's been the biggest problem. So especially a wide receiver. That's why Jets are bringing in guys like Dante Moncrief, who honestly, if there were no injuries, I honestly don't even think he belongs on an NFL roster. You got guys like Chris Hogan, who I think could perform well, nickname 7-Eleven, always open, great hands. So I am excited about the season, but the biggest thing is they have a lot of tough games, so it's going to be an interesting season.
Well, that was great to hear, and perfect timing, man. Thank you. That was perfect timing. So we have 3 minutes left here in this interview for the Jets, and this is probably my favorite parts to do here on, or one of my favorite segments to do here on 3 Out 8 Divisions in 8 Days, because this is where you get to talk a little crap, Harrison. I know you're not too fond of the Patriots, the Dolphins, or the Bills, so this is where you can have a little fun. Some are respectful, some don't like to say a whole bunch, and some just go all out and talk all the crap they want to. At the end of the day, it's all football. We love it. It brings us together no matter where we are, no matter what we do in life, no matter what we're into, no matter what. At the end of the day, football brings us together. And that's all there is to it. Football is definitely a big thing. It's awesome. So with that said, brother, let's do this, man. This is a segment what's called Stick It To 'Em. You have 2 minutes, because that's pretty much what the interview has left in it. So have some fun, man, and talk about the rest of the division, how they're going to do this year, and you can be nice or mean about it. The floor is yours, Harrison. Without further ado, stick it to them.
Definitely, and here comes the heat. So if you look at teams like the Buffalo Bills, I think they've squeezed a lot out of Josh Allen, shown that, he's a good runner. They're using him to his strengths. But if you look at the past, you look at NFL teams, you need a guy that can put a team on his back. You need a guy that is that quarterback, the one that can make the throws, make the decisions. The guy, like I said, you can put the team on his back. Allen is a great runner. He's not bad as a quarterback, but I still leave a lot to be desired. I remember when he came out of Wyoming, I thought he shouldn't have been a first-round pick. So with the Bills right now, I feel like they've done the right things to get the most out of him, with him running, making short checkdowns, deep passes with his strong arm. But I do feel like you saw in the playoffs, when push comes to shove, and you have a good team against a good team, like you saw with Patrick Mahomes against Jimmy Garoppolo, the better quarterback will win. The better quarterback will make the play that will win the game, and I just don't think Josh Allen is that guy. If you look at teams like the Dolphins, I love Tua. I think Tua is amazing, but his injury history is very shaky. He hasn't played in almost a year. He's got issues with his leg. They say he's 100% healthy. He's a big factor. I think if he's healthy, he could be great, but there's a lot of if there. The Patriots, man, you look at them, it's like their time has finally come. They've had Brady for so long. They've been on the top for so long. You look at all these teams throughout all history. The 49ers, when they had their great Super Bowl runs. The Cowboys, the decades of their Super Bowl runs, they were crap. They played bad because it's hard to just add up. Tom Brady was arguably one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game, which means Patriots could be arguably the worst team for the next decade. And that would be something interesting to see, because the chance of them finding another Tom Brady would be like getting struck by lightning.
Let's go and give the applause button, man, because there was definitely some thunder in there. Perfect timing. My gosh, man, you must have a clock right there or a watch, because that was right at the 2 minutes. Dude, that was amazing. Great job. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Harrison Is it Glazier or Glazier? How do you pronounce your last name?
Glazier.
Glazier.
It's like it is a Glazier.
Got it. Alrighty, well, I'll tell you what. Harrison Glazier, one more time, ladies and gentlemen. That was awesome. Now this is a little bit of time for you to plug yourself, man. Let all these Jets fans know where to find you if they don't already have you on Twitter. Let everyone know where they can find you out on Twitter. Any social media you want to share, any publishing you do, anything you do, man. Just let these fans know where to find you and where they can find your work and anything else you might want to share, brother.
Definitely. I appreciate that, man. So, yeah, I write and report for the Jets. You'll see me on Twitter all the time, breaking news. But the biggest thing with me is you're getting my takes, my opinions, how I feel on the story, which is going to be unique and different than anything you're going to get anywhere else. To find me on Twitter, it's my first name _ my last name. So it's at Harrison _ Glazer. I hope you guys join me. I think you'll like my takes, and feel free to go back and forth with me. As long as everyone, like you were saying before, football connects us, it brings us together. We should be uniting, not separating each other. So like I tell anybody, as long as you're, respectful, not negative to anybody, you can insult the players, but, just don't insult other people. I am happy to go back and forth, and we can have a wonderful debate.
The applause button has been hit, good sir. Thank you so much again for joining us. It's awesome what you do your writing, man. And please go ahead and give this man a follow. Harrison Glazer, awesome stuff, man. Harrison _ Glazer on Twitter, correct? That's it. Good stuff, man. Well, with that said, thank you so much yet again, man, for joining us here today. That was a lot of fun. I definitely look forward to having you back many, many, many times. Maybe for some primetime face-offs. I'll tell you what those are later on. Those are a lot of fun. If the Jets play in primetime this year, we will see. It'll be awesome. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to have you back, man. So once again, thank you so much for joining us here today, man. God bless you and your family. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And hey, man, tune in the rest of the show and see what these Bills, Dolphins, and Patriots fans got to say.
Definitely will do. I appreciate you having me, man. Thanks again, and I look forward to being back on. It was a real pleasure.
I look forward to having you back as well, man. So, hey, take care. We'll talk to you soon.
You too.
Right,
take care, my man.
Take care, brother. All right, Joe, once again, Mr. Harrison Glazer. That was awesome, man. All right, so with that said, we take ourselves a short break. Team number 1 of AFC East Day is down, and we are ready and set to get into team number 2, the Buffalo Bills, with another newcomer who I believe is very excited to be on the show, as we are excited to have her. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get on into it. Up next, Bills Mafia, right here on IE Sports Radio. 3 and out, 8 divisions in 8 days. Once again, IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be right back after this.
Motorsports takes many forms, and there's one show on IE Sports Radio that's ready to cover it all.
I sure hope you're talking about you and I, Daryl, because I know the Extra Mile is the best place to go for everything motorsports related.
Yes, it is. From NASCAR to IndyCar to sports cars to everything in between, IE Sports Radio has everything covered for the fastest sport in the world.
Plus, don't forget all of our random shenanigans along the way.
That's right, Caitlin. So for plenty of motorsports coverage and plenty of Caitlinisms, check out The Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio with Daryl Kinsey Jr. and Caitlin Seen, Thursdays at 8 p.m.
What's good, fight fans? It's your boy, Marcus Los Great, here to give you what you want, here to give you what you need. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm coming to you live, straight from your mama's basement with a crispy, awesome white tea. They are coming to you live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Were you listening to a great game on USRN, but then the Wi-Fi crashed in the final seconds? Or do you simply want to listen to the best calls we here at USRN have to offer? Well then, you need to go check out our Audio Boom page. It holds a collection of our best calls that you don't want to miss. How do I get there, you ask? You can download the Audio Boom app and look up Ultimate Sports Radio, or simply go to audiobook.com/Ultimate Sports Radio. And as always, thanks for listening and making USRN one of the most talked about sports networks on Mixler.com.
Welcome back, football fans. Well, there you have it. Talking some Jets football, Mr. Harrison Glazer. Once again, man, I got to show him some love. Great stuff there. And we are on to the second team now of AFC East Day. This is going to be awesome. The first one was awesome. The second one's going to be awesome as well. As we're talking Bills Mafia, y'all. Hashtag Go Bills. Go Bills, y'all. So here we go. We're going from Manhattan area, well, New Jersey, if you will, Eastern Rutherford, all the way up now to Buffalo, New York, upstate New York, to talk about the team that can play in the freezing cold, but has a very warm chance of winning this season in this division. I'll tell you right now, this is going to be awesome to see what these guys can do. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're ready. She is long-time Bills fan and absolutely one of the biggest diehards I think I've ever had the privilege of speaking to, and I'm so excited she could be here on today's show live, not a recording, but live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming for her first time and hopefully first of many. She is, once again, diehard Buffalo Bills fan, welcoming the one and the only Miss Patty Bax. What's going on, Patty? How you doing today?
Oh, great, Larry. What a great introduction. I'm so excited to talk about my beloved Buffalo Bills.
I am glad to have you. This is awesome. You are definitely well deserving of having all the time you can on this show, because I'll tell you, yesterday when we first talked, you are quite the fan. So this is your first time on here, so I want you to let all the Bills fans know listening right now, and of course all of everybody else listening right now, how long you've been a Bills fan, what got you into the Bills, I mean, your affiliation with the team. So please let everybody know how you became such a diehard Bills fan.
All right. Well, I'm happy and honored to be on the show today, and I know that we have such a great fan base. And I just want to clarify something. We are the only New York State team. I just want to make sure everybody knows that. We're the only team that plays in New York State. So just setting the record straight there from the beginning. My mom and dad said, I think I was born with a football, because I have been a Bills fan for as long as I can remember. My mom and dad would take me to the old War Memorial Stadium back in the day, and when I was like 12 years old, I remember so many times crying when the Bills didn't win. And I just kind of thought, well, when you're a fan of a team, you stick with that team through thick and thin. And if you're a Bills fan, you know that resiliency is your middle name. I grew to be even more of a Bills fan when I went to nursing school, and the team trained at the school that I was going to, Niagara University, and I would work during the summers in the nursing lab and sit outside where the Bills had their meetings, and I got to absorb and learn about different plays like Mag Dog, Rag Dog. So when I got to talk to some of the players, they thought I was an actual reporter. They said, how do you know so much about football? But I really never let on that I was sitting outside listening to their meetings. But then that passion grew even more when my mom and I would go to the games. My dad would go sometimes. My mom, unfortunately, she had a stroke, and I would sneak her out of the nursing home and take her to the games, wrap her up in blankets, and one of the games, I remember one of the Bills fans said, you're not going to have your mom sit outside in the cold. And he said, I've got a suite. Come on in. And we just had a ball. But I had to leave her for just a few minutes to go back outside in the cold, because that's what true Buffalo Bills fans are all about. You go through the elements. You live through it, thick, thin. You just, you're in it for life. It runs through your veins, that red, white, and blue.
Where's my applause button? Where is that darn thing? Oh my gosh. These are the stories we love. I mean, right now, listening to Mr. Harrison talk about how he was just a diehard all the way since birth as well. And his grandfather taking him to games as a young boy, and he's listening to you as a young girl. I mean, being able to, that's awesome. Going to nursing school, and being able to see them right there. I mean, you've been through it all. Patty, you've been through it all. You've been through the four falls. We don't need to repeat any of that, but we know for the diehards, you know what that is. You've been through those. You've been through circle the wagons. I'm sorry.
Yep.
You've been through some crap. Okay, but overall,
but you know what though, Larry? When you think about it, I think it's harder to go to 4 Super Bowls in a row than to win one.
Yes.
You got to have a little luck. But by the time our guys got to that 4th Super Bowl, they were exhausted because they had played every single game during the season and the playoff games and the 3 Super Bowls prior to the last one. So that's a remarkable feat, and I don't think, at least in my lifetime, that's ever going to be repeated again.
Absolutely. I mean, you guys really, it's true. I mean, you just don't go to 4 in a row. That is really, really tough. So, awesome stuff there. And I'll tell you, you guys are quite the story. And it's true. No,
well, I actually went to all 4 of the Super Bowls.
Oh, no way.
Yes, I did. It's hard to believe, but I did. And I'll tell you, the one Super Bowl in Minnesota was probably kind of the scariest because I took a bus from Buffalo with a group of fans, and we had stopped at a rest stop, and when we pulled out of the rest stop, it was, of course, snowing, and the bus, there was a truck in front of us, and the bus driver got a whiteout, like from the truck that was pulling out in front of us, and we did pretty much a 360 and landed in a field. We actually were on CNN News, and the state troopers all came, and we were all fine, thank goodness. My girlfriend was a nurse and at the time, and we were ready to go into action, but thank goodness we were all fine. But we all got to the hotel, and we never lost our spirit. We figure, well, that's another thing we have to get through. But we unfortunately didn't win, but that's okay. We were there, and we'll support our team through thick and thin.
Absolutely. And that right there is just big. Overall, I'll tell you right now, you guys are something else. I mean, you're right. To get to 4 bowls in a row. And then you as fans, I mean, that's a cool story. You're traveling right there as well. I mean, saying, like, the true diehards, that's what we love on the show, and that's what we love to talk to. And you are definitely 100% qualified as a diehard, I'll tell you that. So,
thank you. Thank you. I'd like to think so.
So, well, I can say right now, I mean, I love my team very much, but I think you're going to be even more diehard than myself. I mean, that is amazing.
Well,
all right. So,
even went out there when the Bills came back, that wonderful game when they played on Thanksgiving against Dallas. Not too many people were giving us a chance. And they thought, Dallas, they're, the glamorous stadium and all the glitz and, the lights. And here we are, just a little blue-collar team from Buffalo coming in and doing our stuff and having a blast. It was an awesome game. And I don't know if you saw any of the coverage, but I was one of the fans that was out there to greet the team when they came back, to the airport. It was around 2 a.m, and it was freezing, but we were all out there singing the shout song and just having a blast.
Oh, that is so cool. Well, I'll tell you what, you guys are certainly, it's awesome to see this team just continue to get better and better. So let's go ahead and get on into last season. So,
absolutely.
Talk to us about last season. It was a pretty good year. I mean, not the best, but gosh darn it, you guys were close. No cigar, no close, only, as my old high school coach would tell me, or tell us all, close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. But, you know what? It wasn't a bad season. You guys are literally just a few pieces away. I mean, we're going to get into the draft. We're going to get into free agency, but my gosh, we got to talk about this last season first. So, Patty, sum it up for us in just a few minutes here. Give us every raw emotion you can in the short Diet Coke version of last year, when you guys thought you guys were really going to have a chance, when you knew that, gosh darn it, it's probably not going to be this year, but okay, I'm ready for next season. Give us all of your emotions for last year.
All right. Well, every season I go in saying, why can't we be 16-0? I don't see why not. Everybody starts a clean slate. And I had all the confidence. I'm a huge fan of Josh Allen. Obviously, we may get into this, but I'm a huge fan of a couple other players. Well, of course, the whole team, but in particular, Lorenzo Alexander, who has become a very dear friend, and Harrison Phillips. I've become really good friends with his mom and dad. And I was just all excited for the beginning of the season. And there's nothing better than being at a Bills football game. And I would love to invite you to come up here to the Bills Stadium. That's what we're calling it now, Bills Stadium. And experience the sights, the smells, the feeling. There is nothing like it. And even if you're not a football fan, you walk into that stadium, you become one. You just can't help but get caught up in the emotion. And the emotions just throughout the season were hot, of course, like any team, highs and lows. And the exciting thing was that this was our 60th year overall and our 50th year in the National Football League. And I really love our coach and general manager tandem of Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane. They have really done an incredible job. And I think when we started to see that they were winning and they clinched their second winning season in 3 years and fourth in 20 years after a 26-15 win over the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day, I think that's when I really knew they were going to make it. You know, in week 14, they lost to Baltimore, unfortunately. They could have won that game. They really had a chance. And I think every game they played last year, they had a chance. They really did. The Bills record, you know, at that time, 9-4, and then they finished the season with 10 wins. They broke, you know, they entered into the playoffs. They went into the game against the Steelers. They won that in week 15 with 17-10 win. And that was great. I was born outside of Pittsburgh, but I have never been a Pittsburgh Steeler fan, ever, and I never will be. I've got all my cousins and relatives there, and they were all giving me the number, giving me the business. I said, you just wait. I'll be the one talking after the game. And, you know, I didn't want to say I did too much smack talking, but let's just say when they played the song Renegade, and our team had prepared for that song, and Matt Barkley was waving his cape around, it was awesome. It was awesome. So that was a great win, and we really, not only did we clinch our second playoff berth in 3 years, but we reached our 10 wins for the most in a season since we won 11 in 1999. So clearly, you know, we had a team on the rise. Obviously, the disappointing part was when we played Houston and we lost in the wild card game. And I think there were so many missed opportunities. And I couldn't really watch that game back again because it just was too heartbreaking. You know, just that this game started, it was incredible at the very beginning when we had a 16-0 lead. And there's J.J. Watt, that sack, you know, on Josh Allen, I think that really was a turning point. Let the crowd get back into it. Although we had a lot of Bills Mafia there, that's for sure. They were well represented. It just was a heartbreaker. But, you know, what you said earlier, Larry, about we're a young team and we learned some lessons. I mean, Josh Allen, you know, in lots of interviews, he said it just was such a hard pill for him to swallow. And he spent so much time in the offseason just trying to correct his footwork and really analyze what could he have done better. And that's really all we can ask, you know, is moving into 2020, probably the most bizarre season we're ever going to experience.
Yeah.
You know, just having that positive attitude. And I love it. I love the attitude. So we've learned a lot from 2019. Didn't come out the way we wanted to, but I think what we need to do this year is get a playoff game at home. Whether or not we have fans to be there, hopefully we will by then, but certainly we need to get a playoff game at home, and that's going to make the difference.
Well, there you have it. All right, so last year, once again, Miss Patty talking about last year and these Bills. So let's go ahead and get on into the offseason and talk about some of the the offseason transactions and see where everyone is. So let's go ahead and talk about free agency real quick because we have some big time, some bring-ins, if you will, some departures, all kinds of good stuff. So this is courtesy of overthecap.com. I'm going to go fast, just so we can give Miss Patty the floor here. But I'm going to go over some of the key departures and signings, if you will. So, Josh Norman, of course, he is now a Bill coming over from the Washington football team. We have Stephon Diggs, which was a Viking. It's now a Bill, which is pretty freaking sweet. I think that is huge. Star Latule, I'll let it butcher his name. He will re-sign. That is a great thing. Mario Addison. That's right. You got a big-time linebacker coming on in.
Huge. 6'3", 260.
That's a big boy. He's going to do some great things there. Okay, we also have a Jet coming on over to play in the same division. Brian Winters at right guard. Tyler Croft, which is going to stay. Darrell Williams coming on over from guard from the Panthers to play for the Bills. I mean, you guys have so many great players. AJ Klein coming over from the Saints to play for the Bills. Jordan Phillips, another big monster. Unfortunately, he would depart, but he's heading on over to the Cardinals. Regardless, you guys have some good players. Shaq Lawson, as you know, is staying in the division, but head on over to the Dolphins. Right. Vernon Butler coming on over from the Panthers to the Bills. Let's see here. Quentin Jefferson is heading on over to the Bills from the Seahawks. So it's like you guys replenish greatly. Frank Gore, of course, long-time player. He's going from the Bills to the Jets. Julian Stafford going to the Panthers from the Bills. So it's like we have a couple of big time departures here. But regardless, I just feel like, the biggest ones were stated a few minutes ago. If you'd like to go into any more of them, please feel free to do so. Miss Patty, the floor is yours. Talk about all of these pickups and drops. We'll get into the draft in a few minutes here, but just stay with free agency and tell us what you think about the additions and the departures of this last offseason.
All right. Well, Larry, I think it's no surprise that in the playoff game we could have used some height. Coach McDermott called our wide receiver core a group of Smurfs. We needed more height, and I think that's where Stephon Diggs comes in, and certainly we can, just from watching him in practice and his chemistry with Josh Allen, some of the catches have been just eye-popping. I mean, really exciting the whole fan base to see what the potential will be. And just now, Josh has been given all these targets. We focused a lot in off-season with these acquisitions with defense. But I think our draft, which we'll talk about shortly, of course, gave us some offensive help. But the free agent signings really gave us some, if I can use the word like beef up front. We really beefed up in size. I mean, these guys are huge. Quentin Jefferson, obviously Mario Addison, big guys, really tall and very muscular and just ready to bring it. What I really enjoyed, there was an interview with Quentin Jefferson, and they were asking him, like, what's his impression of the team, and just giving some comments about it. And what he really embraced was the willingness to learn of all our young players. We have one of the youngest players in the league, Tremaine Edmonds. That guy can play, and he's really embraced a leadership role. Now that we've lost Lorenzo Alexander, we had to have some of our players really step up. Harrison Phillips coming off that horrible injury, against Cincinnati. It was just horrible. His mom and dad were there. I was there to see it, but he worked his butt off to get back to the shape he's in, so he's going to bring it as well. And Jerry Hughes actually has named his squad the quarterback hunters. So what does that say? Moving into the season, doesn't it excite you to hear that we've got a group of quarterback hunters? They're ready. They're definitely ready. But Quentin Jefferson, he's a family man, and that's a lot of what we look for in these acquisitions. Brandon Beane was looking for people that fit the culture, that could trust our process, and really good family men. They love each other on and off the field. They go to dinner together. They cook and go to each other's houses. They do things together, and that's really where that bond forms. You can be good on the field, but you got to like each other off the field as well, because that translates onto the field. That communication, that trust is right on the field.
I couldn't agree more, and really, it's really cool that you brought up something that nobody really ever brings up, and that to me is, being a player for so many years as well, camaraderie is like the biggest thing, because our coaches always tell you, no matter what level you play at, you you have to be able to trust the man next to you. Play for the man next to you and trust the man next to you. You have to be able to play for them and know that they've got your back, just like they know that you've got their back. So it is a great thing, and just knowing that every team goes into that thing, it goes into every game with that mentality, or at least you'd hope. That just brings that can really make a big difference. That can make winning teams all day. So let's go ahead and get on into this Bills draft, because you guys actually had
yes.
I thought you had a pretty good draft. I really did. I thought you guys had a pretty good. So this is right here. Let's go ahead and jump on into it, courtesy of BuffaloBills.com, and talk a little bit about these players that were drafted this year. Not too shabby, Bills. Not too shabby.
A+ all the way.
You know what? I thought this was a pretty dang good draft. So let's take a look at it and see where we are. All right, here we go. So no first round pick. However, it didn't matter. AJ Epinesa is a freaking beast. I watched this guy play live, actually, versus my Trojans in the Holiday Bowl last year, and just a beast. I didn't even know who he was, but I'll tell you what, they were eating up our tackles like Sunday morning breakfast cereal in front of cartoons, okay? Like, this guy was a very good athlete, and he's such a good player. So, yeah, coming in at 6'6", 280, big boy. Then you, defensive end, sorry. And then you have Zach Moss coming in, a running back out of Utah. Yeah, I think I'm a Pac-12 guy, so anybody who knows anything about Utah, this guy is actually the real deal. He can come in and be maybe not an immediate impact, maybe he will be, I don't know, but this guy is gonna be, he can be a Bill for a long time. He is a very good player. Gabriel Davis, wide receiver out of UCF. UCF had some great teams the last couple of years. I know during this man's tenure there, maybe wasn't all that great. Regardless, still pretty good receiver. Pick up in the 4th round. Jake Fromm. This was one of the biggest surprises of the draft. I thought this guy was going to go way earlier, but he ended up falling to the 5th round. Regardless, now you guys have a little bit of cushion there. I forgot who else you guys have there behind Allen. Regardless, you guys do now have Jake Fromm.
Matt Barkley.
Oh, there we go. Matt Barkley, So, yeah, you guys have a nice little quarterback core there. And now Tyler Bass. Yeah, guys got a kicker in the later rounds. And then you have Isaiah Hodgins, wide receiver out of Oregon State. So, overall, tell us who you think could be an immediate impact. Tell us what your thoughts about the entire draft were. I mean, go ahead and give us all your thoughts on the draft for the season.
Obviously, it, again, was a very different kind of draft. I really enjoyed the intimacy with being able to really look into with the Zoom meetings and really kind of get a flavor of the players and the families outside of the limelight. And that was kind of a cool thing I just wanted to mention. But I would say my 2 favorites, and this obviously can change, but definitely one of the standouts of training camp, every time we get a report, it's always about Gabriel Davis. And some people were calling him Gabe, but his mother, who was a single mom, and she raised him and his 2 siblings, and he's really, his mom has been his total inspiration. This guy is a slip. Now just, keep him for your fantasy team. He's going to be a star in this league. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up really at the top very soon. He's got all the height, he's got the skill set, he's got the motivation, inspiration, and he's obviously posted impressive numbers when he was at US as a UCF product. Mm-hmm. The other guy that they're comparing actually to Marshawn Lynch is Moss. And Zach Moss is quite impressive. He's definitely, I guess you could call him like a workhorse. He's certainly, as a Utah running back, he's proven himself as a force to be reckoned with. And not only on the football field, but also off the football field. He had received the Senior Class Award. He was nominated because of his outstanding community and classroom character and competition. And that's quite an impressive award to receive, because he's involved, when he was in college, he was involved in so many activities and supporting the community. So I think that we're going to see this carry through, as we do with so many of the players. They really get involved in the community. So these rookies have come in, and they have really demonstrated that they're not just rookies. They're ready. They're ready for some action. So I'm excited. I'm really excited. It's going to be a very, very hard cut when they have to cut down to the 53-man roster. And I heard earlier that the Jets have been having some injuries on wide receiver, and I'm really concerned that we're going to have to cut some wide receivers, and whoever we cut, somebody's going to land a good wide receiver from our team. And I don't know if that decision's going to be really, really tough.
Well, I'll tell you, man, cuts are always the toughest thing. Maybe not entirely for every team. Some teams it's like you already know who's basically going to make it, who's not. But when you have a team like this who just has so much talent, it's really hard to know, like, okay, great. Like, you know, like, who is it going to be? So I totally understand. So, all right. So, Miss Patty, we have about 8 minutes left here. We got to squeeze in 2 segments in these 8 minutes. So let's do it and have some fun. But let's do it. And if we go a little bit over, it's all good. So regardless, let's have some fun here and talk about this season. And then we have a fun segment at the end that's just, it's always a good time. But getting into the season, you brought it up a little bit ago, and we're going to go right back into it. Your thoughts on this season. Talk about, now that we talked about the offseason, we talked about last season and the offseason. Now let's go ahead and get on the season and talk about what you think, what you are expecting. I mean, as you always say, as you said, you always go into the season going, why can't we be 16-0? I mean, whatever you want to bring into it, a realistic view, a fan point of view, if it's the same exact thing, however you want to do it, talk about this year in the Bills and what you think these Bills are going to be able to do this year or what they are going to do this year.
Sure. Obviously it broke my heart, and it's still just so sad to think of the opening game against the Jets, September 13th, and not to be there in the stands. I think I just don't know how I'm going to cope with that on game day. But, like I said, it's the year of resiliency, and we're going to get through this because the Bills are going to come out victorious for sure. I really think realistically, 16-0 is my goal, but I don't see why we can't go 13-3 or 12-4. I really don't see why we can't finish the season that way. I'm hoping because the fans are really the 12th man. They bring in that juice and that extra excitement and adrenaline. I hope that on Thursday, October 15th, when we play the Kansas City Chiefs, it's a home game at our stadium, that we're going to be able to have fans there, because that's the game. I think that's going to be a huge turning point for us. I really do. I think that that's the game we can win, and if we have the fans there, that's going to help all the more. It just, when this schedule came out, I can tell you, every Bills fan was looking to see which road games they were going to. And I was thinking, okay, I'm going to the Vegas game. I'm going to always want to hit the Miami game. There was, a Denver game in there. That's always fun. And here we are. We can't travel. We can't go anywhere. Mm-hmm. But I know that the Bills, every single player on that team will carry the Bills Mafia in their heart, because we are with them every step of the way. Every step of the way.
Well, that about as diehard as it gets, so where's my applause button? That was awesome. I'm just saying, absolutely, what's a diehard, always a diehard, and that's what it's all about. So I'm really excited for this. I'm excited for the Bills this year, because I think you guys are just literally just a few pieces away from taking this division. I mean, the Patriots definitely have. They're still not done. I think when Belichick is gone is when maybe that whole era will end, but I know Brady and Belichick are no longer working together. Regardless, like I said, no diss on Brady, but Belichick it's his mastermind. So when it comes down to it, he's still there, but will you guys be able to strip it away from them this year? We shall see. Okay, let's have a little bit of fun. Now, hopefully that even fueled the fire a little bit, Patty, because here we go.
Okay.
This little segment is something I like to call Stick It To 'Em. Now, Patty, you have dealt with these other three teams for a long time. Let's just go ahead and say that you're not necessarily probably the biggest Jets, Patriots, or Dolphins fan. So,
absolutely not.
So with that said, this is a little bit of a little bit of fun we like to have here at the end of these segments on 8 Divisions in 8 Days every year when we do this. And this is where you get a chance to talk a little crap. Okay, talk a little smack on the other 3 teams that you don't like to, that you like to not like, you know, or you don't like very much. This is going to be a lot of fun. You're definitely, however you want to do it. Some people are very respectful. Some people just get, are right, however it goes, they're just respectful. And some people are just pretty crazy. Regardless, it's all in fun. As we say, football brings us together no matter what we are, who we are, what we're into, everything. Football brings us together if you're a big time diehard fan. And well, here we go. So with that said, without further ado, Patty, stick it to him.
All right, AFC East, get ready because you have never seen the snowstorm thanks to Deion Dawkins. The snowstorm is coming your way, so look out. You won't even be able to get your snow blowers ready, your shovels ready, because we're coming through and we're burying you, and we're taking this. Definitely take it over the AFC East with no stone unturned. And here we come. So get ready. You might as well just forfeit all your games now because we've got this. No worries. Here we go. Go Bills Mafia. Faith, family, and football. Let's go.
There we go. I love it. You grouped them all together. You didn't even I'm not even going to bother talking about individually. I'm just letting you all know, get ready because we're coming. Oh my gosh. I love it. All right. That's the first time we had that, but I'll tell you what, Betty, that was awesome. And I'm so glad that you were able to join us today and be a part of this. This was so much fun. And I'm so glad I was able to reach yesterday on Twitter and bring you aboard because this was great. You're a true diehard. You really have so much energy and I love it. You're excited for another season. You're ready to rock and roll. I mean, overall, that was awesome. So with that said, this is your time now. Of course, it has all been. But regardless, for all the Bills fans listening right now, and for anybody else out there listening, please let these fans know where they can find you on Twitter and any other things you like to share, any publications you may do, anything you may do, whatever you like to share with this audience. Please let them know. The floor is yours.
Okay, Bills Mafia, you can find me on Twitter at Huddles, HUDDLES. Of course, it has to be football, 1025-1. And certainly let me know if I missed anything so that when Larry invites Bills Mafia back on, I can certainly come on and try to represent us as best I can. I also just want to say that I work at a comprehensive cancer center fighting cancer. My wonderful sister, Mary, who is battling cancer, is my Mafia sister. And Lorenzo Alexander is our true inspiration. He just rode 57 miles to support us in our fight against cancer. So I want to give a huge shout out and all the Mafia love and Buffalo love I can to Lorenzo Alexander and all the Bills for bringing such joy to us, the fans. So thank you, and thank you, Bills Nation and Bills Mafia. And thank you, Larry. This has been an awesome pleasure, and I hope I can come back again.
That was incredible. Thoughts and prayers to your sister. I mean, that is incredible for Lorenzo Alexander doing that. And I guess, overall, like I said, at the end of the day, we're people. And like I said, thoughts, prayers to your sister. She's definitely my prayers.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And I'll tell you right now, at the end of the day, hey, fighting the good fight. And I think that's incredible. So please keep the faith. You'll be everything, just gotta stay strong. So I'll tell you what, like I said, she's in my prayers. And let's all continue to just enjoy what we love, but at the end of the day, all love each other as well as human beings. So I am so excited for your Bills this season. I'm so excited for you as a fan this season. I'm ready to rock and roll with the season now.
Absolutely.
I'm pumped. We're only 6 teams in to the entire NFL on 8 divisions in 8 days. I mean, seriously, Patty, we just finished the AFC West yesterday. We're halfway through the AFC East right now, and we have the rest of the AFC West and the entire NFC. I'm sorry, we have the rest of the AFC to get through today, tomorrow, and Thursday, and then the NFC next week, all the way up until kickoff, until the 10th. I'll tell you right now, after 6 teams, I'm freaking pumped and ready to go after talking with with you. So I'm ready. Like, this was awesome. So
Okay, I'll be back on, Larry, when the Bills win the Super Bowl, okay?
Shoot. Well, hopefully that's soon. I'll have to have you on much sooner than that because we got a season to play.
Okay.
But
Hey, you've got my number anytime. I'm ready and willing and able to go.
absolutely. Well, thank you for that. And I'm really, really, really looking forward to bringing you back on very, very, very soon for some primetime face-offs or whichever it may be. You're going to do a great job, and I'm really excited for that. So anyway, Miss Patty, you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Take care. God bless you and your family, and I will talk to you very soon back here on the show.
Okay, Larry, give yourself a pat on the back, and you're ready to go.
Ready? I'm doing it. All right, so thank you so much, Miss Patty. You have a wonderful day.
Take care.
Take care. All right, y'all, that was, once again, Miss Patty Bax. Awesome stuff right there. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. All right, y'all. As we know, we are now halfway through the AFC East. This has been a fun day. We got, of course, Dolphins and Patriots to go here today. Let's get on into it. With that said, we're taking us on a short break, and when we get back, we're talking Dolphins. It is our only pre-recorded interview of the day, which I recorded on Sunday with Mr. Josh Ritter, of course. Happy birthday. Well, belated birthday to the birthday man. I didn't even say it on the broadcast, darn it, but now I'm saying it now. But anyway, we will get on into it with some Dolphins talk coming up right after this. You are listening to 3 and Out, 8 divisions in 8 days, AFC East Day, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be right back after this.
What's up, everybody? This is Darren Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunder Spikes? Then I have the show for you, Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Dave the Fried Man here to tell you about the newest IE Sports radio show, the Kansas City Shuffle. We'll be talking football, reigning Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, baseball, your 2015 World Series Royals, college hoops, college football, and much to Ryan's delight, hockey.
Oh, wow.
Make sure you catch up with us on Twitter at KC Shuffle Show. You can also catch up with my colleague Ryan the Pezquire at the Pezquire Fool
on Twitter.
Make sure you check us out on IE Sports Radio at 6 p.m. Central Time to 7:30.
Oh, yeah.
And Ryan, any final words for the listeners?
Yeah, come on in, enjoy the winning we've been having here in Kansas City lately, and don't be jealous. Bye-bye.
IE Sports Radio,
your direct feed for all things sports. Nope, that's not it. Cut that.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome in to the Neutral Zone. I'm your host, Robert Kavanaugh, and you're listening to IE Sports Radio. If you like big nasty hits, if you like slap chops straight to the neck, if you like it when the gloves hit the ice and the big boys get down, then this is your show on IE Sports Radio. This is the Neutral Zone. May our shots on goal always be true and straight to the net. If they are not, may they be followed up, redirected, or change collected. Let's go on IE Sports Radio with me, your host, Robert Kavanaugh, and this is the Neutral Zone.
Welcome back, football fans. Well, here we are on the second day of 8 divisions in 8 days, right here, our very special 8-episode season premiere. I can't believe it. We are into season number 7. This is incredible, but I'll tell you what, we are having a ball. Yesterday was a good one, and I'm saying that because I'm just, speaking as tomorrow. Yeah. What do I mean by that? As you've heard already, it is a growing theme. I have been pre-recording these interviews plenty, like I did last year. Last year, we had the first time where we hit all 32 teams with an actual fan, me talking to somebody, even my own team. That was really, really, really cool. And, well, this year we're doing it again. And who's back this year? He's actually the first interview that I am recording of the entire Divisions in 8 days. So, wouldn't you know? I mean, hey, one of the greatest we've ever had for first and a candidate for the IE Sports Radio Hall of Fame this year. I'm so glad to have this guy back on today's show. And, of course, to talk about his Dolphins last year. If it wasn't last year or the year before, I'm not mistaken, he was actually on for his birthday, guys. I mean, talk about one dedicated man, and this guy is everywhere. I always talk about him running from here across the United States. This guy is just absolutely incredible in all he does, man. He's quite the family man, and passing those genes on to his son, dude, I know for sure doing great things. And I'll tell you right now, this guy, you can't hold him down. This guy is about absolutely awesome and amazing every way. When it comes to his athletics, he's just chugging along, and really glad to catch up with him right now before the interview. But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, glad to have him back here on the show. One more time. Let's try that again. Without further ado, glad to have him back here on the show. He is Mr. Finn. I'm just kidding. No. He is, of course, Fins Up All Day Long. Miami Dolphins, here to talk about his team and what they'll be doing this year, what he thinks they'll be doing this year, and where he thinks the direction they're going in. They're quite the tough team. Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming the one and the only, Mr. Josh Ritter. What's going on, Josh? How you doing today, man?
Hey, Larry, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on to talk some Miami Dolphins football.
I'm really glad to have you back, brother, and you are very welcome. I'm glad you were able to clear some time for us, and I'll tell you and your busy schedule, man, so I just definitely want to make sure that we had you on, though, man. There's a lot of Dolphins fans out there, but there's only one that I really want on this show, especially for this segment, man.
I appreciate that. I'm really excited about football coming back. We all need it right now.
We really do. As we were just talking about, Josh, seriously, man, at the end of the day, politics, religion, whatever it is, no matter what, at the end of the day, football will bring us together, and it is just the coolest thing.
Yeah. Exactly.
It is. So, alrighty. Well, with that said, let's see. So we chopped about 3 minutes out there. So let's go ahead and jump on into some Miami Dolphins football. We'll be talking to Josh for the next, a little bit over 30 minutes here, and we'll go ahead and get this thing going. So, Josh, let's get on into last season. You know what? Those Dolphins, man, you guys looked... I'll tell you, there were so many points in last year's season where I was thinking to myself, this team is probably going to make a run, because you guys had some kind of you had a groove. There were certain games, Josh, where I could seriously tell you that you guys were looking so strong, and then it's like it just kind of fell apart. Because I know, okay, I get it. You guys went 5-11. I know, okay, it wasn't the best season. But what I'm trying to get at is there were so many points in the season where it's like you saw so many sparks of like what this team could really be. And the Dolphins from the previous years were actually pretty strong, pretty tough. And it's like, it kind of, another little nosedive. But at the end of the day, you guys actually, there were times where you looked pretty good. So, Josh, walk us through last season, man. What were your thoughts? What were you thinking? How do you agree with me talking about, some sparks of greatness? The floor is yours, man. What do you think about last year?
Yeah, so last year was one of the more interesting seasons to be a Dolphins fan, because the first 2 weeks of the season, right before the season starts, actually, we traded off Laramie Tunsil, and then right at the beginning of the season, we traded Minkah Fitzpatrick, and the first 2 seasons were an absolute train wreck, just getting run out by New England and by Baltimore. And, listening to the media talk about how the Miami Dolphins were not trying to be competitive, and that it was an affront to football, and, that they were basically tanking for Tua back then when Tua was still healthy, and nobody knew who Joe Burrow was. And it was interesting because if you listened to the media in mid to late September, they were basically doing harm to the game by doing what they were doing and rebuilding with youth. And slowly, as the season went on, Brian Flores started to implement his philosophies into the team and figure out who was flowing in the same direction as him. And the team started being competitive, and they started out 0-7, but they were slowly getting closer, and you could see glimpses of what they could be. There was never a point in the season where any Dolphins fan thought we were going to be competing for the playoffs, but we were all looking for that glimmer, like you said, of hope that there was something to build on for the future. And then something clicked with the team in about the middle of October, and they actually went 5-4 down the stretch and ended up at 5-11. And I didn't see that coming, and I'm sure most fans didn't see that coming. But something happened with the leadership of the team and the tough nature of Brian Flores and Ryan Fitzpatrick. They caught lightning in a bottle with him, which is the story of his career. And they started playing some really good football and beating some really good teams. And it definitely gave us all as Dolphins fans some hope for the future. And, winning that game in New England, when New England desperately needed that game to go to the playoffs and have a bye, and going down there and winning and beating them in Tom Brady's last home game in the regular season as a Patriots player was really a highlight from a lot of the last seasons, just to watch them to accomplish that. And they actually finished with a better record in the last 9 games than the Patriots did. The Patriots were 4-5 down the stretch, and the Dolphins were 5-4. So there was a lot to be excited about at the end of the season. Yes, they still finished 5-11 and had a rough year, but with the amount of talent that they had on that team, which was one of the least talented teams I've ever seen in the NFL, for them to scratch out 5 wins and go and be above 500 in the second half of the season was really a remarkable job by Brian Flores and that coaching staff to get the most out of the talent they had. So we have a lot to be excited about going forward.
I completely agree. And yeah, think about that, man. You guys knocked off the Patriots, and that wasn't a, what would you call it, a garbage game. It really wasn't.
No.
You guys, like, the Patriots were going full blast. Like, they were giving you everything they had, and you guys literally, a team that didn't do hardly anything when it really came down to the crunch. Because there were sparks all season where I was like, oh my gosh, the Dolphins got this. Oh, they lost. Oh, the Dolphins got this. Oh, they lost. Oh, the Dolphins got the one. Oh, they lost too. Oh, now they're just getting beat. Oh, hey, they start. Hey, okay, that's a good win. Oh, that's a good win. Oh, that's a good win. That's a good win. And then it's like, okay, well, if there's ever a test, here it is, and you guys pass with flying colors. So you're right. I mean, and then you guys get the momentum. Moving in, of course, into the offseason. I know it was 5-11, but who cares? But you talk about that momentum right now. And then you go into the offseason with, of course, some free agents, which we'll get to in a few minutes. But I'm sorry. We have to get a little bit past the free agents right now just to get to this draft, because you know what? I really like this draft. So let's go ahead and just jump to it real fast. And guys, courtesy of sportingnews.com. And here we go. So the Dolphins, automatically, you would think, everyone's talking about the whole tanking for Tua thing, which I'm not a believer in tanking. I'm really not. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. People want to think what they want to think. Maybe it is true. I don't know. Right. But I do know that when you have a quarterback that is available, like Tua, well, you're probably going to take him. It was either him or Herbert, depending on who they were going to get. And the Chargers were going to get whichever one at 6, right after you guys picked at 5. But you guys went with Tua Tagovailoa. First overall draft pick quarterback out of Alabama. Of course, we know all about the injury. That's been beat with a stick. But I want to get your thoughts on that in a few moments. But let's go ahead and jump on in to your next first round. You guys had 3 first rounds. So the 5th overall pick, the 18th overall pick, Austin Jackson, offensive tackle out of USC. I know a few things about this guy. Just a couple things. Just because, he blocked, of course, for the college that I love to cheer for. And this guy's absolute beast. I'm really glad you guys picked up a monster like him. You guys are like, Tunzel who? I'm just kidding. No, Tunzel's a great player, but I'll tell you what, this guy right here, I think can really fill in, and I have a lot of hope for this guy. And to see him in a Dolphins uniform, blocking, I don't know if he's his blindside or not, but he's blocking for Tua, man. This is going to be awesome. You guys have 2 really young, excited guys out there. I am so excited already just for the offense alone. Then we have Noah. Next up, the 30th overall pick, Noah Igbonehi, I believe. I don't want to butcher his name. Well, I didn't say who said that. At least he but corner out of Auburn. I don't know a whole bunch of him, but I do know that this guy is the real deal. I mean, corners don't usually go super high unless there's something happening. This is a really good player here, and he can definitely be one of the premier corners in the league in the next couple of years. I mean, I remember when you guys drafted. Oh my gosh, who did you guys pick up a couple years back? I'm thinking of a different team. I'm sorry, but okay. With that said, no, you know what? Good. No, I am not. You know what? The corner you guys picked up a couple years back, and he was amazing, and then you guys got rid of him and he went to the Colts.
Vontae Davis?
Vontae Davis.
That was way back.
That was way back.
Yeah, that was way back.
The guy was actually
8 or 9 years ago.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah, that was like back in the day. It really was. That was my first couple years in college. But absolutely, man, he was good. He was a really good player, and you guys tend to pick up some good players. I mean, I know whatever happened, but okay. So let's go ahead and just speed through the rest of this here. So second rounds, you have 2 of them. You have Robert Hunt at guard from Louisiana Lafayette. Another more beef with the offensive line, and then Brandon Jones, safety out of Texas. Round 4, you have Solomon Kinley, guard, another big boy out of Georgia, and that Georgia offensive line was nothing to play with. They were a very dominant offensive line, so there you go, beefing up the offensive line some more. Round number 5, you have here Jason Stobriggs, defensive end out of North Carolina. Also in the 5th round, Curtis Weaver, outside linebacker out of Boise State. Blake Ferguson, long snapper out of LSU in the 6th round. And in the 7th round, you guys finished off with Malcolm Perry, a wide receiver out of Navy. So, with that said, go ahead and walk us through your draft. Tell us all about your draft grade, or, I think, because we talked about this before on the draft show, I think we had you on earlier this year. But regardless, let's talk about this, Josh. Let's go ahead and see. What are your thoughts on everything? From Tua, from the injury, if there's any concerns, from all the offensive line you guys picked up. Like, seriously, every direction the Dolphins went, the floor is yours, man. What do you think about this draft?
Yeah, so I guess I'll start with the Tua pick. I've never been more excited to see a player get drafted in my life. I had been on the Tua train for a long time, just watching him in Alabama with the pinpoint accuracy and days where he had more touchdown passes than incompletions. I mean, just the kid has the it factor, both in his personality and in his game. And, you can talk about the injury history, and that is certainly a thing. But, injuries are a risk in football, and that's a part of the sport. And it doesn't matter if you have an injury history or not. There's always a chance in any play you can get hurt. And the way I looked at it was we've been looking at it for a franchise quarterback for this team for 20 years. And I'm really sick of asking who's going to be the person to take the mantle from Dan Marino. I'm ready for someone to actually take that. And this guy has all the tools to make that happen. So, watching him in camp and seeing how he's been moving around, which has been great. He's been very fluid in his movement. I'm really excited for the future. It's going to take some time because it's just this offseason is such a different offseason than any one we've ever seen before, and that's going to be a common theme as we talk about these draft picks. But I'm really excited about him and his future with the team. I'm going to skip Austin Jackson for a second and go to Noah Igbenogany. Okay. Didn't know who he was when we drafted him. And I was kind of floored because there were some other players out there. There were a couple running backs that I was excited about and thought maybe it would be a good pickup there. But they went with this cornerback, and I thought, we have Byron Jones, we have Xavier Howard, and do we really need another cornerback? But he has flashed in training camp. He's been looking really, really good from everything I've heard. And, you can't have enough good cornerbacks, especially in this passing league. And I feel like that may have been a sneaky good pick for the Dolphins that I did not expect, because I didn't honestly know who he was when they drafted him. But he's been a very pleasant surprise since he came in. So very excited for that. It's a 3-cornerback league nowadays. And we were able to move Bobby McCain to safety with that pick, which is a good fit for him. So I think it's been a really good pick for us. As for Austin Jackson, I want to lump him in with Robert Hunt and Solomon Kinley and say that everything I'm hearing is that these young kids have been great pickups for the offensive line. Offensive line was absolutely atrocious last year for the Dolphins. They basically had no talent on that team, and they needed a complete overhaul. And when you added bringing in Eric Flowers, and Ted Karras, they have the foundation of a balance of veterans and a few rookies that I'm really excited about. It's going to be a problem this year because there's just going to take a long time for them to learn the game and gel, but they needed to address the offensive line, and I think they did that. Like you said, Austin Jackson, behemoth of a man, and he just turned 21, I believe, last week. So he's super young, and if he matches his development with his talent level, he could be a really good tackle for a long time. So really excited about those guys. And then as for the later round draft picks, the one that has been standing out in camp so far is actually Malcolm Perry, who was our 7th round pick, and he was a quarterback at Navy, but they didn't do a lot of passing, and they converted him to a wide receiver, and he's been making plays constantly, and actually got praise from Bobby McCain a couple of days ago, basically saying he's a good player, just does nothing but make plays. So I'm really excited to see what he can do. But overall, I think it's an A draft for now, but you'd never know until they get it on the field. But when you have as many picks as the Dolphins had, all you have to do is hit on 4 or 5 of them, and you've got a fantastic draft. So I'm excited about it.
I completely agree, Josh. You hit on everything extremely hard, extremely well, and I think right now, of course, this is why we got the diehards on the show, y'all. As you can see, Josh is a veteran here on the show, and he knows exactly. The man knows his team. He knows his football. And I'll tell you right now, I couldn't have done that. There's no way I could have ever done that better because you know your team so well. And now that you've said all those things, it is so true. You see this young quarterback coming in, Josh, and you see his poise. Josh, you remember, we were all watching the game where Tua jumps on in at the half. Yep. The national championship game. It wasn't the college football playoff, first game, the semifinal. It wasn't during the season. It wasn't during where they played LSU. It wasn't during any of those games. It was the gosh dang national championship. The game that says everything. If you win this, you are the national champions of the college freaking football. And what happened? Well, Coach Saban says, I'm going to make a move, and Jalen Hurts wasn't getting it done, unfortunately, and it was really cool to see Jalen Hurts rally behind his teammate. It really goes to show you what kind of player he is. Of course, he would later leave to Oklahoma, but that was something I would have done as well in his best interest as a player, and, wish him all the best as well in his NFL career. But Tua took over from that point, and this man, Tua Tagovailoa, jumps into this national championship game, leads this team to a victory, and it's incredible to see what he has done. And after that, he just goes off. He plays amazingly great all through his next couple of years. Yes, he got injured, but regardless, injuries are part of football, number one. But the biggest thing is he certainly played extremely well, and he did a lot for his team at Alabama. And now here he is, heading on into the NFL. And Josh, there's just so much reason to believe that this young man has every bit of poise at this position, every bit of grit, every bit of being a competitor to actually get in here and play for this team as if they were the freaking Patriots for the last 2 decades. It really seems that way.
Yeah, I remember watching that national championship game, and they threw him in there, and I remember thinking, why would they pick now to do that? That's throwing a true freshman into a fire that he's just not prepared for, and it looked like he had been a 3-year vet playing that game. And I remember thinking, watching that game, not knowing who this kid was, we need somebody like that to quarterback the Dolphins in the future. It wasn't, I want that kid, because you didn't know. It was one half of football, but someone that just had no fear. And then you watched him develop into his time at Alabama, and just, like I said, the pinpoint accuracy. Yes, he had great talent around him, but the talent didn't really need to do a lot because most of the balls were right on target. All they had to do was get open. And you could just see this kid is different, and the way that he interacts with the media, and he's almost always team first when he talks to the media. He doesn't talk about himself. He talks about the team. He does all the right things, and I've seen for 20 years all the wrong things with a lot of my starting quarterbacks, and it's been so refreshing just to hear him sound like the kind of guy you want to lead a team. And yes, we are all anxiously awaiting the first time he gets hit really hard in the midsection to see him bounce back up. But everything that we're hearing and seeing from him as a Miami Dolphin so far says this kid has it. And as long as that hip is as solid as it looks, I have more confidence than I've had in a long time that we're in good hands.
I agree. I completely agree. You guys have a very good quarterback now, and it's just, honestly, now it's just, I'm never going to count the Patriots. As long as Bill's there, I'm never going to count them out.
Right.
I know that they're still going to be potent. They got Cam there now. They're still going to be a tough team. But my gosh, you guys knocking them off last year. My gosh, you guys being a very, actually not too bad of a team in the last 5 years. I know the records may not say all that much, but there were seasons where you guys actually looked really strong. There were seasons where you guys didn't look that good at all. You guys have been so up and down. So I'll tell you right now, you guys were absolutely amazing. And now let's go ahead and get on into the within the last couple of years, like within the direction you're going in. I think Flores is doing a great job there, and I really have high hopes for the Dolphins. If there's anybody in this conference right now, the Bills are also a team that I can look at and go, you know what, they're really on their way. They're really looking good. But man, I feel like the Patriots are still going to be relevant, but man, and the Jets, they're here and there. But when it comes down to it, the Dolphins and the Bills can really break out and be like the little brothers who finally beat the big brother. And when it comes down to it, man, I think you guys and the Bills are going to be very relevant games for years to come. And I'm very excited to see what the Dolphins do. So let's go ahead and get on into the into the free agents here. And this is crazy. Okay, you guys picked up 10 dudes, and you guys look good with these guys. Okay, we have here Clayton Fazdelium. I don't want to butcher his name there, but Eric Flowers, of course. Let's see here, Kamu Grigor Hill, Jordan Howard, The big name on this list is Byron Jones. Don't forget, everybody, he was the man who jumped out of the stadium a couple years ago during the draft. He broke so many records jumping, and you saw how potent he was for the Cowboys for years. Ted Karras, Shaq Lawson, we remember him a couple years back coming out of Clemson, defensive end, or outside linebacker actually, but the guy's actually a very good athlete. But things happen, and he just wasn't the best fit. Well, guess what? Now he's over there. Now he's a Dolphin. We have Emmanuel Ogbah, Eldon Roberts, and I think the biggest signing that you guys made in the offseason. Speaking of those Patriots, I mean, the man wears 53, and I think a lot of people do know that that's also the number that I wear, so I'm just saying, I got mad love for my 53 crew over here, but Kyle Van Noy wears that number like a monster. I mean, this guy, because you think of the 53s in the past, like Bill Romanowski, this is the reason why I wear that number. Don't say anything, Josh. Just kidding. But I'll tell you right now, he was my favorite player back when I was starting getting into the Raiders a lot in the early 2000s, but Kyle Van Noy is a machine. This guy has done... He is an absolute machine on the field, and his best years, I think he's in his prime. He is playing great football, and you guys acquired a linebacker of this caliber. Josh, go ahead and talk about any of these 10 guys, but really, I mean, talk about the emphasis that Van Noy and Jones are really going to bring to this defense.
Right, and Kyle Van Noy was my favorite signing of the offseason. Byron Jones was the big splash, and I think that he's amazing. He's a great lockdown corner, but I loved the signing of Kyle Van Noy because for years I have watched the Patriots pluck Dolphins that were talented but underutilized and turn them into superstars specifically on their defense, and even on the offense with people like Welker, who most people don't know was actually a Dolphin. But I've seen the Patriots do this for a long time, and to be able to pluck probably one of their top 2 or 3 defensive players from them, a guy that was a leader on that defense, and bring him to Miami was really exciting for me. You weaken a division rival, and you strengthen your team, and you bring veteran leadership to the team, and you can throw Ted Karras in there as well as the center for the Patriots the Dolphins plucked away. Really excited to see that because those are players that know how to win. And they've worked with Brian Flores, specifically Kyle Van Noy has worked with Brian Flores because he was the defensive coordinator there before he left. So Flores knows these guys. He knows what they're capable of. And they have become instant leaders on the team, and it's just really exciting to see that. As far as Byron Jones goes, I mean, Xavier Howard just got off the PUP list, and he looks like he's going to be close to ready at the start of the season. And honestly, if he's ready to go, it is going to be extremely hard to pass on this team. We have the highest paid cornerback duo in the NFL, and they both have earned that money. Xavier Howard is a great cornerback and has a nose for the football. And Byron Jones, while he doesn't have as many interceptions as you would think, his completion percentage against is one of the best in the league, and he just doesn't let the other team's best receiver get off. So I'm excited to watch the pass defense, and they're going to be needed because we don't have the biggest pass rush yet. That's one of the areas that we signed a couple guys, but I'm not going to say that they're game changers, so we're going to need to cover for a while on the back end because our front seven, as far as rushing the quarterback outside of people like Van Noy, is probably still going to be a work in progress. But they definitely spent a lot of time addressing that defense and infused some veteran leadership on both sides of the ball that was really lacking last year. We didn't have a lot of veterans, the youngest team in the league. This year, we've sprinkled in a few veterans that know how to win and have won before, and I think that's going to be really valuable. And we'll see what happens with the running back situation. We brought in Breida and Howard, and they're a good complement for each other because Howard is a bulldozer and will get you that 3 or 4 yards every game. And then Breida can break it out. I mean, most people may not know this, but Matt Breida in the last 2 years had the fastest speed on the football field in the NFL. So the fastest clocked speed in the last 2 years has been Matt Breida. And so we got a burner that can take it to the house. And if he can stay injury free, which has been his bugaboo, then we have a good 1-2 punch running back as well. So there's a lot to be excited about.
Well, man, you got Tua now, you got Austin there, the offensive line, you got some good weapons on the offensive line who are still there. You guys have a defense now who I think is going to be Jones and Van Noy by themselves, man, is going to be awesome. Yeah. You know what I mean? You got Breida doing this thing, running the ball. I mean, you guys have a team that is very well put together, and seriously, it just all depends on, at this point in time, okay, you got the talent, all right, Flores, get in the driver's seat and drive us to the playoffs, because I think that's really what it is, man. You guys really have a very talented football team, and I am so gosh dang excited for this Dolphins team. I'll tell you right now, Josh, if there's a team that there's a few of them that I'm very excited to watch this season because I think they're going to be breakout teams, but you better believe the Dolphins are on that list because this is a good football team. I don't care what anybody has to say. This team you guys are so close to being that next up breakout, hardcore, tough, we're going to, kick butts and take names. I mean, you guys seriously have that type of you guys have, in my opinion, you guys have that type of demeanor behind this team. You guys are a very, very good, talented team. So, you know what, man, at the end of the day, the Dolphins, I think you're off to some good years. So, with that said, we only got a few minutes left here. But, Josh, let's go ahead and jump on into your thoughts of this season. So, now that we talked about last year, we put that in the past. We talked about the draft, which is how important that always is. And we talked about a very good free agency period. I mean, I give you guys an A+ with the free agency and your guys' draft. You guys look really good. Of course, we don't know until the players get on the field, but especially for the draft to grade them. But at least for right now, the early grade, that's where I'm getting you guys an A+, and it is great. So with that said, let's take a few minutes here, Josh, and just dive into this season. What are you expecting? What are you thinking? Get into the other team. However you want to, and just a few minutes here. Let's not get into the teams just yet, but let's go ahead and talk about what your expectations are for the Dolphins.
I think the buzzword for the Dolphins this year is going to be potential. If this was a normal off season where the guys had been in minicamp, I may be pretty excited because when we talk about the other teams, I think this is a division in flux, as you've talked about, and there's the potential to have a very good season. I think that what's going to hold them back is I think that this season, because of the way it is with COVID and everything, is going to be one for teams that have a lot of continuity. And as we talked about, the Dolphins have brought in a ton of new people, and I think early on you're going to struggle to see the continuity there that they're going to need to do well. But as the season goes on and these rookies and these free agents gel together, I think they have enough talent to start showing what they can do probably next year. So this, to me for this year, it's about watching them grow together and become a team by about midway through the season. That being said, they proved last year they can take a less than perfectly talented roster and win. And so if they can stay around 500, maybe a little under 500 in the first half of the season, I can see a situation where they start to catch fire and get better and squeeze out a winning season. I'm not going to predict the playoffs for them just yet because I think that they're going to take too much time to gel, but I think they're going to be a highly competitive team towards the end of the year and build a foundation for when Tua comes on full time, probably somewhere in the 8th, 9th season or game of the season, that they are building towards something really special in the future.
I like that. You know what? You guys really are building for something very special. I'm so excited for this. So, without further ado, Josh, we have just about 4 minutes left here in the interview. And this, we got to end it with some good stuff. Last year I started this segment. I forgot what it was actually called, so I'm just going to rename it right now. But it was hilarious because we got so many different types of reactions. Some people were respectful, some people were not respectful at all. And some people were actually, it was actually really funny. So, with that said, you got a few minutes here, Josh. Everyone, all 32 fans are gonna have just a few minutes here at the end of this interview to talk a little crap about the rest of the division. So, it's always fun, man. So, with that said, let's get it, Josh. Go ahead, man. Rep your team and talk about the rest of this division. Once again, respectful, not respectful, whatever you want to say, man. Talk about your team the last, why they're the best, and go ahead and give a few shots to those other teams that you don't like so much.
Awesome. Well, we have to start at the top, right? I respect the heck out of what New England has done for the last 20 years. but they got the crap beat out of them in the offseason this year. Losing Tom Brady was a problem, of course, but their defense just had a ton of talent taken off of them, both by free agency and honestly by opting out. Dante Hightower, Patrick Chung, they both opt out for the season. It's going to be tough for the New England Patriots to maintain the status that they've had. I don't put anything past Bill Belichick, but I just have to believe that this reign of terror that they've had in our division for 20 years is coming to an end. I like Cam Newton as a player, but he really does struggle to stay healthy. And Bill Belichick's system is not easy to pick up, and I think there's going to be some growing pains there. So you never can count them out until they count themselves out, but I have a sneaking suspicion that this year they're going to come down to earth a little bit. As for Buffalo, I think Buffalo is the cream of the crop in the division, in a very weak division. We all play the AFC West and NFC West this year, which are both amazing divisions. And so I think this might be one of those years where someone wins the division at 9-7 or 10-6. And I think that team's probably going to be Buffalo because they have the most continuity. They didn't have to bring in a ton of people to keep themselves in competition. I'm not a huge Josh Allen fan. I've said that many times on IE Sports Radio. I think he's got a cannon for an arm, but he overthrows every single deep pass about 5 yards, and that's a problem for them. But, I mean, you can't deny the fact that he can run as well as almost any quarterback in the league, and he finds a way to make broken plays happen, and you have to appreciate that. So I think that'll carry the day for them. They have an extremely strong defense. So I don't have a lot to say bad about Buffalo because, I mean, honestly, they've been in the doldrums for a long time as well, and I respect what they're trying to build there. I'm not sure if it's going to be a long-term build because I don't believe in a quarterback that can't throw accurately, which is where Josh Allen is. Maybe he proves me wrong this year, but I haven't seen that yet. But we'll see. As for the Jets, they are my favorite because they have Adam Gase, and I hate the Jets more than any team in the league. And watching them make all the same mistakes the Dolphins made with Adam Gase during their run together is just delicious, and we're loving it as Dolphins fans because that man has way too big of an ego to handle stars with egos, and you saw that with Jamal Adams being traded away. And his issues with Le'Veon Bell, which make no sense at all. As long as Adam Gase is the coach of the New York Jets, I'm fully confident that their inability to compete will continue. And I could see them being one of the worst teams in the league this year. So I'm looking forward to watching that happen.
He said it's delicious. I'm sorry, that was funny. Right. Well, with that said, there you go, man. Get a little crazy. I'm loving it. Give it to him, Josh. It's all about rivalry. Hey, it's football's family at the end of the day. Like you said, always brings us together. But yes, man, it's always fun talking a little crap and get some rivalry in there, especially for those rivalry games. But with that said, Josh, that's going to do it, man. Dude, thank you so much for being on today's show. Is there any last things you want to throw out there? Any plugs you want to throw, man? They want to let all these Dolphins fans know where to find you on Twitter. Please let everybody know, man.
Yeah, hit me up on at Josh Ritter 13. I will be tweeting during every football day. I'm really excited to start the season. Hit up my Dolphins. If you're not a fan of any team, be a Dolphins fan because there's a bright future ahead.
Absolutely. Well, that's it, Josh. Thanks again, brother. Best of luck to you, of course, moving forward. For you, your boy, doing all kinds of awesome things, man, as a father and son. I love it. It is a beautiful thing. Enjoy your teams, man. Enjoy the rest of the year, man, and just try to just get through it. And, well, football's here, so I think things are a little bit easier for us, right? So with that said, yes. Josh, thanks again, brother. God bless you and your family, man, and I'll talk to you soon.
God bless you, Larry. Thank you very much.
Take care, brother. Have a good one.
Bye.
Alrighty, y'all. That was Mr. Josh Ritter. Can we show him a little love? I mean, for real. That was awesome. With that said, y'all, that will do it for the Dolphins. Oh, yeah. That was fun. I'm glad we're getting it going, y'all. The juices are flowing. We're feeling good. So with that said, y'all, we got the Jets out of the way. We got the Bills. And now we got the Patriots on the way. That's right, y'all. When we come back after this break, we'll be talking some New England Patriots. With the guess who? He's a Hall of Famer, Mr. Pete Garofalo, coming up, talking some Patriots football right after this. You're listening to AFC East Day here during AFC Week, during 8 Divisions in 8 Days, our 8-episode season premiere, season 7 here on IE Sports Radio, or of 3 now on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll get back to you right after this break. Patriots fans, get ready.
Attention, all sports fans! If you're someone who wakes up each morning with lists of sporting events to go along with your to-do list for the day, then you just might be a diehard. The world of sports is as vast as the ocean is deep, including the major leagues, the minor leagues, the college, and everything in between. This is me, your boy Larry B of IE Sports Radio, welcoming you to join me every Monday evening at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on The Defining Moment, a show that focuses on what really matters in the sports world, sports themselves, and nothing outside of them. Once again, tune in for The Defining Moment with me, your boy Larry B, every Monday evening at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on IE Sports Radio, right here on Spreaker.com. We'll see you there.
To the Soccer Scoreboard Show with your host, Gabriel Montoya. This is the show for soccer, football fans, or whatever you call the beautiful game. Every week, I tackle the latest and greatest news from around the soccer world. From the English Premier League, to the World Cup, to MLS, Liga MX, and more. You can listen to the Soccer Scoreboard Show and our lineup of fantastic guests every Friday at noon here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
From the home plate to the nets, the end zone to the finish line, here nothing is off limits and no sport is safe. Not what it seems, with your host Caitlin Seam, bringing you sports like you've never heard before. Catch me Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, right here on IE Sports Radio. The only question is, are you ready?
Hey, what's up, BS3 sports fans? If you love listening to the BS3 Sports Show, check out the weekend wrap-up every Monday at 12:15 Central Time, 1:15 Eastern, recapping the weekend in sports like you never heard it before. Comedy, interactive chat room, it's a must-listen. Weekend wrap-up on Spreaker.com, part of the X Squad. Check it out. You won't be disappointed.
Hi, I'm Brian McLaughlin. In the National Football League, there are approximately 17 million total fans.
I'm Andrew Guzman. My Dallas Cowboys make up almost 9 million of those fans.
And my Seahawks have a very loyal fan base of around 4 million.
That's more than 3/4 of all the fans.
That's absolutely correct, Andrew. And on the Common Ground Football Podcast, we'll be talking about the good, bad, and the ugly of these teams.
We'll have weekly picks, discuss transactions, injuries.
And we'll chat about the rest of the league, too.
Blake freaking Bortles?
Oh, yes. And Captain Andrew Luck.
Excellent. What about Fitzmagic?
Oh, let's not get carried away now.
Oh, all right then.
Join us each week at commongroundfootballpodcast.com or wherever you get your podcast.
It's going to be
awesome. Lopan, they didn't even want you. Heck, they didn't even want me. But you know what? Right about now, they have no choice. Looking for the real sports talk? Talk that's for us, the people? Look no further. The Wait a Minute Show, a prime time sports comedy cocktail that tucks you in at night. Join me and Lopan Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 2livestewsradio.com and Saturday 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the waitaminuteshow.com. Sounds like a plan to me. Ain't that right, Lopan?
Indeed.
Hi everybody, it's Calvin here from USRN, here to give you an important message. Since 2017, we have done our absolute best to provide you with nothing but the highest quality of sports calls in the greatest of quantity possible. Thanks to you, our station has grown more than we ever thought. That's why, with your help, we would like to grow even further. Just think, twice the amount of your favorite calls, 24 hours of coverage, talk shows, play-by-play, game-by-game analysis, and so much more. That's right, USRN2 is officially in development. But we can't do it alone. We have set up a GoFundMe page that you can access from our homepage on the left of your screen. We also are planning special giveaways and prizes to our highest owners. Our goal here at USRN is to bring you the best calls possible at no cost to you. In order to continue to do that, we need your help now. Please check out our GoFundMe page, and if you would like to know how you can help, you can email usrnradio@gmail.com. Without your support, we couldn't do what we do.
Ladies and gentlemen, hear me and hear me good. If you like sports, then you like the Wait a Minute Show. If you like comedy, then you like the Wait a Minute Show. If you like a different opinion coming from a different angle, then you like the Wait a Minute Show. So join me Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with your host, Jelani J.B. Bodie. And of course, my man Lopan on the waitaminuteshow.com. Ain't that right, Lopan?
Hey guys, it's Blake Henley, better known as H-Town Blake to some of you. Happy to announce that Bases Loaded is back in full force. We'll be bringing that high heat every Tuesday night here on IE Sports Radio. So come home, get ready, dig into that batter's box, and see if you can chase that high heat, baby. So we'll be coming to you live with all the stats, all the rundowns, all the division rivalries, and every team that's going to make the playoff push to get to that one and only October and get to the pinnacle of what baseball is, to hoist that Commissioner's Trophy when it's all said and done.
College football, and do you want to hear a college football show dedicated to all that is college football, including junior college,
in the CCCAA and in the NJCAA, the NAIA, and the NCAA, including Division III, Division II, Division I AA in the FCS, and Division I Single A in the FBS. Well then, look no further. Join myself, Larry B., and my colleagues, Mr. H-Town Blake Henley, and Mr. Christian Espinoza, each week during the college football season for the latest in college football on 3 and Out College Edition, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey, what's up, sports fans? You're looking for a different type of sports talk show, something you haven't heard before? You got to check out the BS3 Sports Show every other Saturday on 2 Live Stews Radio, 1 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern. Sports talk at its finest. Always have great guests, playing some good hip-hop. You don't want to miss it. Make sure to tune in to the BS3 Sports Show every other Saturday at 1 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern.
Hey USRN fans, do you have a product or company you're trying to promote? Look no further. USRN is teaming up with small local businesses trying to establish themselves via online promotion. Let us know if you're interested. Email us at usrnradio@gmail.com to learn more.
What's going on, football fans? This is me, your boy Larry B, inviting you to join myself, Colin Reynolds, Mike Pat, and John Felipe for one of the most electrifying football shows you have ever heard. 3 and Out, right here at IE Sports Radio. Recap of the week before, a preview of what's to come, and of course, 3 hardcore head-to-head prime-time face-offs each week. You don't want to miss it.
That's right, y'all. You don't want to miss it. This has been quite the show today. Quite the eventful show. And it would end with an awkward kind of bang. First things first, I want to say thank you to all of our guests for today. All of them, Mr. Harrison Glasson, Miss Patty Bax, and Mr. Josh Ritter. Yeah! With that said, y'all, that was awesome. We had an awesome show up to this point, and well, we do have ourselves a live show. A live guest. However, it's gonna be over messages. Unfortunately, Mr. Pete Garofalo messaged me a little bit ago during our Bills interview with Miss Patty Bax, and let me know that he could not make it today. Work, he got some things moved around, and unfortunately couldn't quite get here, which is a bummer. But I'll tell you what, it's all good. Of course, Mr. Pete Garofalo, we love him. He's a great guy. He's the IE Sports Radio Hall of Famer, and we know he'll be on many shows to come. But hey, work happens, and as he told me in his work is paramount. It's true, man. Work comes first, and definitely, it's a bummer. It was out of his control, but it's all good. I reached out to a few Patriots fans, and of course, another one of the most gigantic Patriots fans I've ever known in my entire life, Mr. Chris Blackie. I reached out to him, and he actually, he was not able to come on either. However, he would be able to answer some questions in great detail that I sent to him a little bit ago during the Josh Ritter interview, and I cannot wait to read these here online, on air, talking about these Patriots. So today's show will probably be cut a little bit shorter because I doubt I'm going to spend 40 minutes, with the analysis and talk about all this, but let's see. All right, so let's have some fun here and see where we go. So first up here, Mr. Chris Blackie, I wanted to ask him about last season. Okay, so let's talk Patriots real quick. Patriots football. It's been, yeah, exactly what Taryn says here in the chat room, the W word, yep, work. We all can't stand it. I mean, I wish I can go back personally. Darn you, COVID. I'd love to go back to my job. I love it. Unfortunately, COVID is not letting me, and that's really annoying, but hopefully it will go away soon, and we could get back to normal, and get back to work. But for those of you who are working, be happy. Be happy. So, with that said, let's get on into a little bit of Patriot talk. Okay, so the Patriots, as per usual, one of the biggest, whatever you want to call it. I mean, there's some drama surrounding this team, usually, in some way or another. I mean, everyone remembers not glorious, but everyone remembers Spygate. Okay, everyone remembers that. Everyone can remember, talking about, Spygate and talking all this other craziness going on with good old Bill, and we have Bill Belichick and Malcolm Butler in the Super Bowl where he benched him. Just all these things that surround it. I mean, all these crazy things that surround the Patriots that give all kinds of football fans, fans of all teams, things to talk about. Whether you love them or you hate them or you're in the middle, which I don't know if you can be in the middle with the Patriots, either love or hate. I kind of am in the middle with the Patriots. I used to hate them because of the Tuck rule. Yep, salty Raiders fan. But I've let that go. So it is what it is. But I'm just saying, overall, it's just one of those things where the Patriots just, seem to somehow always be in the spotlight, in the news somehow. And this last offseason was definitely unlike any we've seen recently, at least to this magnitude, I feel. And it was also something that just keeps the Patriots once again in the media and keeps them being one of the most anticipated teams to watch. This time, though, for a completely different reason, in my opinion. I feel like everyone watches the Patriots just to watch them fall, and when they don't, everyone gets mad, and when they do, everyone cheers. Or at least the Patriot haters. And in this case, everyone's been waiting for TB12, Tom Brady, to retire. Or Bill Belichick. I remember hearing for years, it's going to be this year when they win the Super Bowl, they're going to retire together, this, and that. But that was far from the case. Tom Brady would depart from the Patriots this year, and he would head on down to a place where I mean, if anywhere, this would be out of the 32 teams in the NFL, well, 31 now, excluding the Patriots, from 1 to 31, where he went would be 29, 28. Okay, maybe even 30 or 31 itself. I would not have thought whatsoever that Tom Brady would end up on the Buccaneers. No, I couldn't see it. But he has now ended up on the Buccaneers. And, well, we'll see where that goes. But that won't be until next Wednesday when we talk about the NFC South. Regardless, we are going to be talking some New England Patriots. Now, Tom Brady has departed. He's on to the Buccaneers. And Gronkowski comes out of retirement to go play with him down there in Tampa Bay. Awesome. The Buccaneers have lots of talent. They can do lots of great things. Let's see what they do. Now, the Patriots, they still have Bill. In my opinion, if you have Bill, you still are pretty much, that potent, powerful team that you're going to be. Well, that you've always been, in my opinion. Okay. Andy Reid is, the biggest part of why the Chiefs are so successful. Does that mean that that Patrick Mahomes is, not important? Of course he is. Does that mean that the entire Chiefs team on the field isn't important? Well, duh. They win the games, okay? But Andy Reid is, the man with the master plan. That says a lot. So, what I'm getting at is that though Tom Brady was a gigantic piece of the Patriots and their success winning all of their only 6 Super Bowls in franchise history, well, I don't believe that it's all over until Bill Belichick, or at least what they call that era, is all over until Belichick resigns. I don't think he'd get fired, but I'm saying, who knows, but I'm just saying, until the day he calls it a career and retires. Or goes somewhere else. Overall, the Patriots are the Patriots. Bill is Bill. And that team is pretty damn good. Okay. Now, they would have reached out to acquire Cam Newton. Everyone thought that Cam Newton would probably be heading on over to the Pittsburgh Steelers, because it's true, I watched a video on that one time. What made the most sense for Cam Newton would be the Steelers. Of course, he'd be behind Big Ben, but how many years does Big Ben have left? Who knows? He could pull Tom Brady and be there for a while. Who knows? But the thing is big mobile quarterback kind of fits. Now, the place that made most sense for him to go, though, was the Patriots, because after Tom Brady's departure, Newton he's a seasoned vet. He's played in a Super Bowl before. He wasn't going to sit there and let let somebody be in front of him, no matter how legendary they are, even if it is Big Ben, okay? So, this past offseason, when we seen that departure happen from, Tom Brady from the Buccaneers, there was a question of, would Bill go after Cam Newton? Well, the question was answered when they signed Cam Newton, about a month ago, 2 months ago, right there. And, you know what? I think that's a great fit. Cam Newton is an absolute machine. We've seen what he can do. Once again, seasoned vet. He's been in the game for almost, 10 years now, or around 10 years. The guy knows how to win games. He's a great athlete. And though his time in Carolina has come to a conclusion, he definitely, in my opinion, still has lots of tread left on those tires. Overall, I just feel like right now, Cam has an incredible opportunity. He's going to work with, in my opinion, the greatest coach of all time. He's going to play for one of the greatest organizations ever. And he's going to play for a franchise that, loves to win and knows how to win. Cam Newton can fit in this scheme very well. He's got a good arm, he's mobile, and he's a really big dude. Overall, I feel like this was the best place for Newton to go. Even though the Steelers made sense, once again, Ben is there, and he's not going to sit behind nobody. Newton's going to walk into a starting job, I believe. And this is where the story begins. So, now we are talking some Patriots football. As I said here, he will not be here live on the show. However, he is, here with us in spirit. Of course he is, but he is right here on the, via Twitter and his responses, and we will get to those momentarily. So without further ado, this guy's the real deal. He is such a freaking diehard Patriots fan, and I'm bummed he couldn't be live with us on air, but it's really cool to see him, be able to still try to make something happen and send me some responses to my questions. And he's without a doubt a super cool guy and one of the biggest Patriots fans, like I said, you'll ever meet. The guy's an all Boston guy, and he's been on the show many times before. He's been on the show for the Patriots Super Bowl last year. He's awesome. So without further ado, welcoming here, at least his responses here on today's show, welcoming, he is, of course, co-host for the Boston Sports Blitz and for Big Bad Bruins podcast, all the way from the East Coast, from New England, diehard Patriots fan, diehard Boston fan. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Mr. Chris Blackie. Alright, so, hold on while I pull these up real quick. So, here we go. So, talking to Chris a little bit ago, or, he said he was strapped with work today, or strapped with, he's probably got a lot going on. I hit him up last minute, of course. But let's do this and get on into those questions. So I asked him the basic questions I've been asking everybody, of course, when here on 8 Divisions in 8 Days. And I asked him first things first, his thoughts on last season. Chris says here, last season, actually I'm going to put this all together, okay? I'm going to put it all together because he wrote it all together. So I asked him your thoughts on last season, your thoughts on free agency, your thoughts on the draft, and your thoughts going into the season. Then, of course, I told him to stick it to him, talk about how you think the rest of the teams in the division are going to do this season. You can either be respectful or mean. I told him to put a little haha in there too. I said, have fun. So here are Chris's responses, and this is what this man thinks about all that stuff that I just asked above. Here we go. The floor is yours, Chris Blackie. Via me speaking for you, or through this here. So here we go. Last season was one big roller coaster ride. The defense looked elite early on in the season, and it just came unglued late in it. With the way it ultimately ended was a microism of the year. You don't see teams come into New England and push them around, but that ultimately happened. That was last season, and I completely agree, man. That was a tough go, and I was just so bummed to see this team not being elite, because that's just, I don't know, some people are just waiting for that, but I just feel like when you have a team that is this good, it's rough to see them not, I don't know, some people want to see them fall. I just think it's cool when teams can go as long as they can, but we may be experiencing, maybe getting close to the end of the dynasty. Once again, without Bill, with Bill, I don't see the dynasty ending at all. But when he's out of there, then I can say the dynasty will finally come to a close. But at least the Belichick-Brady era, that dynasty has come to a close. But Bill's still there, y'all. So, anyways, so question 2 here, and I'll just finish it out here. Actually, no, he put them all in order, sorry. But he says, with free agency signing, Newton came as a shock. But every indication is he has been the last man out nightly and has a firm grasp on the system. It is still very odd not seeing Tom out there still, but I am quite curious how different this offense looks with Newton under center. That is very, very, that's a great way to put it, because overall, Cam Newton absolutely is a freaking beast. As I put a little short video out right when Cam Newton got signed here on the iSports Radio. I don't think I put it on the Twitter account, but I did put it on the Instagram and on the Facebook page. And overall, sorry, a little yawn there. Overall, Cam Newton is Cam Newton. The Patriots still have a good, considerable amount of moving pieces. This team certainly has lots and lots and lots of good players. When it comes down to it, the Patriots, they drafted, in my opinion, pretty good this year. We're going to get into one of the craziest picks I think we've seen in a while, but I'll assure you this is what Bill does, guys. So overall, I thought that was, in my opinion, the best way to put it. Not seeing Cam Newton out there is going to be kind of crazy, but seeing that number 1 Patriots jersey, you know what? It's sometimes a change scenery for these players in your career, in your job. Those are just one of the things in life I feel like a change scenery is best in. Not everything needs a change scenery. Okay, some things, a change scenery is a bad thing, but a change scenery in things where it's just not, in like a team, well, you know what, it can make all the difference sometimes. So, all right, so for the third question for the draft, Chris says, the draft on paper looks solid. I don't personally know a lot about them going in, but they perform or not. It appears that Nick Folk has already surpassed the young draft pick. Interesting development. Also, fairly strange not seeing Gostkowski out there. I can see that as well. It's crazy. I forgot. I didn't even know, as a matter of fact, he wasn't part of the team. That's crazy. But, okay. Going into the Patriots draft here, courtesy of sports.nbcsports.com, we have the draft. First pick of the draft this year in the second round, Kyle Duggar. Safety out of Lenoir-Rhyne. Lenoir-Rhyne is a Division II, pretty dang good school, but Division II, NCAA Division II school. This is very Belichickian, in my opinion. Malcolm Butler was also somebody who came out of a, I believe, a Division II school. I don't know if it was West Alabama, or actually I think Tyreek Hill came out of West Alabama. Regardless, it doesn't necessarily matter what division these players come from, okay? Ali Marpet. Ask Tom Brady who Ali Marpet is. Division III from Hobart guard. Starting guard for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'll tell you right now, I think he's still there, but I'll tell you right now, it doesn't necessarily matter. I play Division III, guys. It doesn't matter. It's just, are you that good and can you make it? And that's the big deal. So Kyle Duggar is a freaking, he can be great. He can be one of those players that are a sleeper. Overall, I'm really excited to see what Kyle Duggar can do. In the second round, Josh Uche, I believe, outside linebacker out of Michigan, a good hard-hitting linebacker there. Third round pick, Anthony Jennings, outside linebacker out of Alabama, another big-time linebacker. They know what they need. They know these pickups they need. Devin Asiasi, tight end out of UCLA in the third round. Another great pickup here. They need a big body. No more Gronk. I think Butler's gone. Sorry, Bennett's gone. So, overall, this is a great pickup in my opinion. I think that's a great target for Cam Newton. Dalton Keene, out of tight end out of Virginia Tech. As you can see, yet another tight end. They're trying to build up the tight end core, and these could be sleepers. Okay, the pick they got from the Raiders here, Justin Rohrwasser, I believe is how you pronounce his name. Place kicker out of Marshall. Then we have here from a trade from the Colts through the Lions, Michael Onwenu, I believe, guard out of Michigan, beefing up the offensive line. Then we have Justin Herron, offensive tackle, another big boy for the offensive line out of Wake Forest. Cash Malui, I believe, linebacker out of Wyoming. Don't want to butcher his name, but another, as you can see, yet another pickup in the linebacking core. And wouldn't you know it, another pickup for the big boys on the offensive line. In the seventh round, Destin Woodward, center out of Memphis. In those really cool jerseys, I'm just saying, he got to wear one of those really cool jerseys. So he got to wear one of those really cool jerseys at Memphis. So regardless, I'll tell you right now, you guys, I am really excited to see what this team can do. I know that the Patriots, Bill always has something up his sleeve. Bill always has something up his sleeve. I think the pickup from the young man, Kyle Duggar, out of Lenoir-Rhyne, is going to end up being one of those really cool picks. We'll find out, but I seriously think that he just might, make that interception, the game-winning interception in the Super Bowl. We don't know. But, not to bite off of Malcolm Butler or anything, but I'm just saying, overall, great pickup. Okay, so let's continue on with Chris Blackie's responses to my questions. This is going into the season. He says, as far as the division goes, I could see it being a lot tighter this season. Okay, and honestly, I agree. Overall, this is how it's going to go. Okay, this is all what it comes down to. The Patriots are the Patriots. Bill is still there. The draft was pretty dang good. I mean, I thought that was pretty good for what they had. Like what Robert Dillon said yesterday for the Chiefs. Like they did the best they could for the position, for the picks they had. The Patriots didn't have a first round pick, but they still made, I think, the best out of the picks they still had. Overall, this team, they're still the Patriots, guys. And Cam Newton is no slouch. They're not dealing with some second-string quarterback right now trying to figure things out. It's either going to be him or Jarrett Stidham, and I just, no offense to Jarrett Stidham, but I just feel like Cam Newton's a seasoned vet. He's the guy that'll start. But regardless, they got some backup there. They got some depth. They got some depth with Jarrett Stidham. But overall, I just feel like Cam Newton's going to be the guy. So, going on to stick it to him, Chris actually was pretty polite, was pretty nice about this. He says here, the teams all got better. Miami could threaten this year, but is a 2-team race. Oh, but this is a 2-team race between with Buffalo and the Pats. The Jets are gonna Jets through. Or Jets, though. Sorry. He said the Jets are gonna Jets, though. So, unfortunately, the Jets are still being the butt of the joke in the AFC East, and I mean, I feel bad for the really Jets fans for getting that. But it's true. Until they can really... The defense is great, but until that offense can get together, we can see. So, Terrence is here in the chat room. Patriots traded their first round pick to the Chargers for their second and third picks. Quality over quantity. Well, there you go, Taryn. Yeah, I didn't even know that. But overall, yeah, I mean, and there's Taryn, they're a Chargers fan. And overall, I just feel like the Chargers have every bit of, of a chance to be great this year with Herbert, as well as I believe that, and we're going with a rookie comparison, as I feel that they have every bit of a chance of being great, as Tua and the Dolphins have every chance of being great, as Tom Brady and the Buccaneers have every chance of being great, as Cam Newton and the Patriots have every chance of being great. What do I mean by this? Well, it's simple. Any given season. Any given Sunday, any given Thursday, any given Monday, and in some cases, any given Saturday when they play, or any given Friday. I forgot. I know they might play a Friday game this year. I think I forgot, but how it goes. But regardless, any given day, guys, that's football. So I will not, and I repeat, I will not count anybody out. I will not say that the Patriots are going to be this, big powerhouse team and smack everybody around, go to the Super Bowl. And I will not say that the Jets, the Bills, or the Dolphins are going to come out of nowhere and be this big surprise team and go all the way to the bowl. What I do know is that it's football. And no matter what, anything can happen at any given time. Any of these teams could be big-time breakout teams and could make a run. But I'm not going to actually sit here and, say it, and swear by it or anything, or I don't like to swear, but to say anything, to say that's what's going to happen. Any of those things could happen any given time. The Chargers and the Dolphins could have great success or not good success, or be middle of the road with their new rookie quarterbacks. And the Patriots and the Buccaneers could be the same exact thing: great, not so great, or middle of the road with their both veteran quarterbacks. When it comes down to it, the quarterback position is the most important position in the NFL, or in football. But we, of course, know that the rest of the team also plays a big factor in it. So putting so much pressure on one position is kind of silly, but at the same exact time, it's not so silly when it comes time for, the big plays. I know I just contradicted myself, but overall, I'm just saying that everything else is a factor as well. Quarterback play is huge, but you also got to know that defense. The Patriots defense is very good. Last year, they were up and down, number 1, number 2 with the Niners all year long, or right around there. Good football team. And overall, Cam steps in and does his thing, or if Cam steps in and does his thing, I honestly feel that it can really go anyway. Terrence is here in the chat room. And remember, it's 2020. A lot of crazy things have happened, especially in sports. Anything in capitals can happen, even in the NFL. And I completely agree, Terrence. This is just going to be one of those crazy years. It's already been a crazy year in sports and life. So, hey, the NFL they are not exempt from that, okay? So, overall, that is going to do it. Thank you very much to Mr. Chris Blackie for your responses, y'all. Make sure to go check him out. By the way, he's a lifesaver, man. He at least got me something to talk about from an actual fan, not just my opinions. Of course, I put my opinions in there as well. But Chris is, of course, as I mentioned, he's awesome. He once again, you can find him at Chris_Blackie. That is Chris CHRIS_Blackie BLAKEY. You can find him on the Boston Sports Blitz. On Twitter, of course, Boston Sports, and then BLZ, and the Big Bad Bruin Bruins Pod. Of course, that's at Big Bad Bruins Pod. Show him some love. The guy is such a diehard when it comes to his Boston sports, and I'm really excited. He also, I believe, I don't know if he writes for them or whatnot, but it does say on his Twitter, diehardbostonsportsfans.com, so check that out as well. Definitely a great dude, and glad to have him a part of this. And though he couldn't be here, absolutely, to talk with me, I'm glad he could write those in for me last minute. And to Pete, it's all good, brother. Thanks again, man, for trying to make the time. And I interview scheduled with this last weekend, but couldn't make it, and it's all good. So I'm glad that Chris was able to step in. And for Pete and Chris, both of you guys, looking forward to having you guys back on the show very soon. And that will do it for the Patriots. So with that said, y'all, we're going to take ourselves a short break. Well, probably, on a short, a little bit lengthy, we'll see. But I gave me some water. As you can see here, I'm pretty parched. As you can hear, it's like I have a frog in my voice, man. A little bit of screaming and yelling for the last couple of days. I love it, but I always get a hoarse voice during this time. But it's all good, yeah. So with that said, I'll be back in just a few minutes here. You are listening, and that'll actually do it for. Let's go ahead and give the hand clap, y'all. That was awesome, man. That'll do it for the AFC East. That was a lot of fun today. We are now halfway through the AFC and on to the AFC South tomorrow and the AFC North on Thursday. When we get back, I'll give you my final weigh-in of the AFC East this year, how I think they're going to do, what I think they're going to do, and we shall see. With that said, y'all, you're listening to 3 and Out, 8 divisions in 8 days. AFC week here is now halfway concluded with the AFC West in the books. And when we get back, I'll give you my final thoughts on the AFC East. You're listening once again to 3 and Out, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. We'll be right back after this.
Hey, what's up, BS3 sports fans? If you love listening to the BS3 Sports Show, check out the weekend wrap-up every Monday at 12:15 Central Time, 1:15 Eastern, recapping the weekend in sports like you never heard it before. Comedy, interactive chat room, it's a must-listen. Weekend wrap-up on Spreaker.com, part of the X Squad. Check it out. You won't be disappointed.
Soccer Scoreboard Show with your host, Gabriel Montoya. This is the show for soccer, football fans, or whatever you call the beautiful game. Every week, I tackle the latest and greatest news from around the soccer world. From the English Premier League, to the World Cup, to MLS, Liga MX, and more. You can listen to the Soccer Scoreboard Show and our lineup of fantastic guests every Friday at noon here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Everybody, this is Taryn Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunder Spikes? Then I have the show for you. Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Dave the Fried Man here to tell you about the newest IE Sports radio show, the Kansas City Shuffle. We'll be talking football, reigning Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, baseball, your 2015 World Series Royals, college hoops, college football, and much to Ryan's delight, hockey.
Oh, wow.
Make sure you catch up with us on Twitter at KC Shuffle Show. You can also catch up with my colleague Ryan the Pez Choir at the Pez Choir Fool
on Twitter.
Make sure you check us out on IE Sports Radio at 6 p.m. Central Time to 7:30.
Oh, yeah.
And Ryan, any final words for the listeners?
Yeah, come on in, enjoy the winning we've been having here in Kansas City lately, and don't be jealous. Bye-bye.
IE Sports Radio,
your direct feed for all things sports. Nope, that's not it. Cut that.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome in to the Neutral Zone. I'm your host, Robert Kavanaugh, and you're listening to IE Sports Radio. If you like big, nasty hits, if you like slap chop straight to the neck, if you like it when the blood hits the ice and the big boys get down, then this is your show on IE Sports Radio. This is the Neutral Zone. May our shots on goal always be true and straight to the net. If they are not, may they be followed up, redirected, or change collected. Let's go on IE Sports Radio with me, your host, Robert Kavanaugh, and this is the Neutral Zone.
Motorsports takes many forms, and there's one show on IE Sports Radio that's ready to cover it all.
I sure hope you're talking about you and I, Daryl, because I know the Extra Mile is the best place to go for everything motorsports related.
Yes, it is. From NASCAR to IndyCar to sports cars to everything in between, IE Sports Radio has everything covered for the fastest sport in the world.
Plus, don't forget all of our random shenanigans along the way.
That's right, Caitlin. So for plenty of motorsports coverage and plenty of Caitlinisms, check out the Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio with Daryl Kinsey Jr. and Caitlin Seam, Thursdays at 8 p.m.
What's good, fight fans? It's your boy, Marcus Los Great, here to give you what you want, here to give you what you need. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm coming to you live, straight from your mama's basement with a crispy white tea. They're coming to you live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's going on, football fans? This is me, your boy Larry B, inviting you to join myself, Colin Reynolds, Mike Pat, and John Felipe for one of the most electrifying football shows you have ever heard. 3 and Out, right here at IE Sports Radio. Recap of the week before, a preview of what's to come, and of course, 3 hardcore head-to-head prime-time face-offs each week. You don't want to miss it.
You certainly don't. I gotta update the commercial. I know I'm rather solo now on the show, but man, it was a party with John, Mike, and Kylan, but it's all good. We'll have them back, of course, talking about their favorite teams coming up. And, coming up, more than likely on 8 Division 8 days, of course. And we're definitely going to be doing our thing all through the season. So with that said, y'all, there's some awesome shows to check out here at IE Sports Radio. And make sure you tune in. We got some good stuff coming up today, as a matter of fact, for sure. We got some good stuff. Taryn coming actually live in a little bit with Set Point. We also have here the Kansas City Shuffle coming up. That's going to be awesome. And Gloves Off tonight. Great shows and just great people. Keep the good times coming, y'all. With that said, though, you already know what time it is. It's time for the final weigh-in for the AFC East 2020. Here we go, y'all. Cue the music, cause we're out of here. Overall, the Jets, up and coming, not their season. I want to say so much good things about them, but we've got to see Sam Darnold coming to his own as a quarterback, and we've got to see this team come together and make something happen. I see them being around a 6-10 to 9-7. That's a big window, but they could be around there. I think they're going to be more at the lower end, 6-10, maybe 7-9, maybe 5-11, depending on if they just don't gel. But if they do, they could actually be scary good because that defense is really good. Then I want to say so bad the Dolphins are going to be second, but as of right now, they're just their rookie quarterback. Of course, he's a phenom, and I think he's going to do great things. I think it's going to be very close. It's going to be a twist-up between them and the Bills for the second place. And am I really putting the Patriots back in first without Tom Brady and Cam? I certainly am. Is it going to be easy? No. Is it going to be really, really tight? Yes. I mean, seriously, y'all, it's going to be like the top 3 teams are going to, maybe even the Jets are in the mix. We're looking at like freaking 6-10 to like 9-7 for every team. The Patriots are going to lose more games than they have in a long time this year. The Bills are going to be competing. The Dolphins are going to be competing. And the Jets are going to be competing. This is going to be the most wide open division, I believe. Maybe second or third, but I don't know. Maybe not first, but around there. One of the most wide open divisions in the NFL this season. Taryn, I got to hats off to you, brother. He says here, it'll be a tough season for the Patriots since 8 or so of their top defensive players opted out, and that makes it even more of a reason for this team, for this to be an even closer division. I'm gonna go my finals. Jets 5-11 through 7-9. I believe they can be a 9-17, but I'm going to give them that for now, at least until they gel and get better. I'm going to go Dolphins anywhere from 7-9 to 9-7. I'm going to go Bills, same thing, anywhere from 7-9 to 9-7. And I'm going to go Patriots 7-9 to 9-7. I seriously think this is going to be a very fun division to watch this year, a very fun season, and that is what it will be, at least in my opinion, that is. And there you go. So that's what I think it'll be, and that is that. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now halfway through the AFC as AFC week is rolling on here. On to the AFC South tomorrow and to the AFC North on Thursday. Then NFC week next week on to kickoff on the 10th. Let's do this, y'all. Thank you to all of our guests today, Ms. Patty, Mr. Harrison, Mr. Chris, and, of course, we can't forget Mr. Josh Ritter. I'm your boy, Larry B. I'll be back tomorrow to talk some AFC South. Until then, take care, and as always, God bless.